CFAX Victoria,
an iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, Vancouver Island. 6 o'clock, Friday, July the 17th. Steve in for Ryan this week. Chance of some drizzle this morning. Time for CFAX 1070 News. Here's Lisa Best.
Thanks, Stephen. Good morning. We begin with the fire situation here at home and also across Canada. Across BC, we have 45 active wildfires, up from 31 yesterday. 23 new starts in the last day. That includes one up near Qualicum Beach, but it is under control, so crews have made fast work at the flames there. But there are 16 fires considered out of control here in BC. It's a drop in the bucket compared to what's happening out east. In Ontario alone, 180 active fires, 63 considered out of control. And all that smoke is having people choke through their day. It's impacting air quality across parts of that province, including the Toronto area and beyond. And it's also billowing across the border into the U.S. ABC's Matt Rivers is in New York City.
Detroit and Chicago among the major cities with the worst air quality worldwide, with visitors to the Windy City feeling the effects.
Come out the subway, chest started to give me some issues, nose was burning, I can taste it.
Milwaukee officials recording their worst ever air quality, more than double the previous record number. One Delta pilot telling passengers not to worry as a smoky smell invaded the cabin flying over New York.
Just want to let you guys know that's from the wildfires out west.
Haze triggering flight delays in Philadelphia, ash even sticking to an American Airlines plane in flight.
Prime Minister Mark Carney defending the government's approach to the environment and wildfires yesterday as a growing number of U.S. politicians begin to point the finger at Canada for all the smoke that is impacting their communities. Carney says the government is taking an investment-driven approach to climate and the environment, while telling a reporter in French that Canada needs a contribution from the U.S., calling climate change everyone's responsibility. In a letter addressed to Carney yesterday, 4 Michigan members of the House of Representatives accused our country of failing to conduct adequate forest maintenance to reduce wildfire risks and warned U.S. officials would look elsewhere and act on their own if more action wasn't taken. We'll have more on this in the coming days. Locally, BC Highway Patrol on the mainland still busy dealing with bad riders on the heels of a 22-year-old rider with a learner permit doing 177 in an 80 zone in the Sea to Sky Highway last weekend. Police say earlier this month, dash cam footage caught a 23-year-old riding and weaving within traffic, hitting excessive speeds on Highway 1 in Surrey. The actions and license plate were clearly visible on the driver's high-def dash camera. Police ended up tracking down the rider days later. He was fined a total of nearly $1,800. Oak Bay police are also on the job. They curbed a driver doing 88 in a 40 zone in the 900 block of Beach Drive last week. The driver ticketed and the vehicle impounded for the week. A driver is recovering after crashing into a pet supply store in Nanaimo. It happened yesterday morning. Police say around 10:30, a Mazda continued through the parking stall, crossed the sidewalk, slammed into the front of the business. The impact caused extensive damage to the front of the vehicle and shattered the store's front window. The female driver was treated at the scene. She has non-life-threatening injuries. The vehicle had to be towed. Fortunately, no one else was hurt. Police say there were no signs that the driver was impaired, and they say no charges at this point are pending. The Royal Canadian Legion is celebrating a century this week.
The Governor-General will take part in a commemorative ceremony at the National War Memorial in Ottawa this morning, while Canada Post will unveil a new stamp marking the occasion later this afternoon. Now, the Royal Canadian Legion was formed after the First World War and officially incorporated in July 1926. It has about 300,000 members and more than 1,350 branches right across the country. The Legion is currently offering free memberships and says 100,000 people have already joined the organization this year. Rob Westgate, The Canadian Press.
And the latest on that teleprompter debacle, sources telling ABC's there's new accusations over a bet made on one of the most popular prediction markets, Kelsey. And now they're going right to the White House. The president's longtime teleprompter operator is accused of making bets on words the president would use in speeches. ABC News Washington managing editor Catherine Falders tells the ABC podcast Start Here that the man would make last-minute changes to his bets if the president made last-minute changes to his speech.
If he noticed, allegedly, that a word Trump had skipped over. Trump had skipped over a word. He skipped over a section. Maybe he wasn't going to say that word. At least according to what investigators found, they believe that then he would opt out of that trade.
The man allegedly made tens of thousands of dollars on the bets made in speeches by the president, speeches he gave over a 3-month period ending in March. That's your news to 6:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking, will you be tuning into the World Cup final on Sunday? 2/3 say no. A third, 33% say yep, they'll be there for the game. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Vest, your news time, 6:06.
Thank you, Lisa. Weather forecast for Greater Victoria. Mainly cloudy today. 30% chance of drizzle early this morning. It'll clear up this afternoon. Winds becoming southeast 20 late this morning. And then west 40 near the Juan de Fuca Strait this afternoon. A high near 20 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight. Low down to 14. Clearing tomorrow with a high near 23. Sunny on Sunday with a high near 25. Right now in downtown Victoria, it's 12 degrees. Well, we just mentioned the World Cup. Lisa did, and here's what's happening there.
This is your TSN Radio FIFA World Cup 2026 update.
I'm John Rodenberg. Sunday, 5.5 weeks after the World Cup kicked off, it will come to an end with a championship game between Argentina and Spain. Argentina is trying to become the first country to win back-to-back titles since Brazil did in 1962. It leads the tournament with 19 goals scored. Spain has done it with defense, allowing just 1 goal in 7 matches. And TSN soccer analyst Stephen Caldwell says because of that, Argentina can't afford to fall behind.
Argentina are a team that have allowed other opponents the opportunity to go in the lead, and they've left themselves mountains to climb. They've done it. They've managed to get there. But if they do that against Spain, it'll be too much.
Argentina going for its 4th championship in its 7th trip to the final. Spain has played in 1, winning in 2010. Game time Sunday is 3 o'clock Eastern. You can watch the FIFA World Cup matches on TSN, CTV, Crave, and streaming at tsn.ca. Listen on the TSN Radio Network with all games streaming on the iHeartRadio app.
6:08 here at CFAX 1070. The rest of the sports news for you this morning. Air quality impacted the sports world in a large way. Smoke from the Minnesota and Northern Ontario wildfires resulted in cancellations of the Pacific FC match in Hamilton and the Whitecaps game in Chicago. No new date yet for the Tridents game. The Whitecaps match has been rescheduled for October. Blue Jays and Mariners back after the All-Star break today. Toronto hosts the White Sox. Mariners entertain San Francisco. There's CFL football here on CFAX 1070 tonight. The 1-3 BC Lions are in Edmonton to take on the Elks. That's a 6 o'clock kickoff. And the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks have the rookies reporting for training camp today. Checking the traffic map at this hour. It's a Friday in the summer, which usually means lighter than usual volume. And so far, this just in, there's lighter than usual volume around. At the ferry terminal, it's going to be a busy day. The 6 o'clock is already departed. The next available sailings at 7 o'clock. It has 43% available deck space. There are hourly sailings right through until 9 o'clock tonight. Just bringing your attention that some of them are almost booked already. The 1 o'clock sailing only has 9% left. The 4 o'clock has 5, and the 5 o'clock has 8. So you might want to make a reservation if you can for those particular ones. Here's today's consumer and business news.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the U.S. Mint has started striking a $1 coin featuring President Trump to mark the nation's 250th anniversary.
During the 150th, there was a Calvin Coolidge coin, so we can put living people's images on a coin. The president's also going to have a coin coming out with his image on it.
The piece, which is not real gold but does have a gold-like finish, will be available in the fall. Bessent also says President Trump's signature will start appearing on all new U.S. paper currency in the coming months. Bessent's signature appears below Trump's on the new bills.
The currency has to say "In God We Trust" somewhere on it, and there cannot be a image of a living person.
Frontier Airlines passengers will soon be able to use Wi-Fi. The airline says that starting early next year, flights will offer high-speed internet through SpaceX's Starlink. Beyond watching movies on a flight, the airline says Starlink will also provide connectivity for pilots, flight attendants, maintenance teams, and ground operations. Pricing has not yet been announced. And Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is looking to get off to a huge start at the box office this weekend. Matt Mattinson with more.
Who's looking after your wife and son? Do you see? My dad is coming home.
The film is expected to make between $90 and $100 million in its debut. If it hits $100 million, it would be the third to do so this year after Toy Story 5 and the Super Mario Galaxy movie. The film is the first ever to be entirely shot with IMAX cameras and will benefit financially from premium format options, including 70mm screens.
And Chipotle wants to make you a winner during the 2026 World Cup final. The restaurant chain planning to give away $1 million in burritos during the World Cup final on Sunday, which pits 2022 champion Argentina against Spain at 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm Monica Nelson with your consumer and business news.
6:13 here at CFAX 1070. Steve and Lisa with you. Ryan on vacation this week and next. You know who's not on vacation today? Shania Twain.
What's she doing?
This is kind of a neat story.
Mm-hmm.
So she's having a one-night-only show at the Horseshoe Tavern in Toronto.
I love the Horseshoe. If you've never been there, by the way, it's very, very cool. It's like an old country bar.
Well, she says that it's a chance to come full circle.
Oh, she played there when she was younger?
Well, she did get her start playing across bars in Ontario in her youth, but she wasn't big enough to play the Horseshoe back then, and now she finally gets to. She says the gig at her venue, which will only fit 500 people, reflects the spirit of her new album, Little Miss Twain.
That's fantastic.
Isn't that a nice little story?
What's it hold? Maybe 500?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I've seen some really good artists there, but it's just a sort of a kicker country bar. It's a great place for her to go back to. How do we get tickets?
I think
we have next question.
It would be fun to be among those 500.
100%. It's like when the Stones show up and just play a little gig at some dive bar in New York City. It's like, really? Could we got word of that? Blue Rodeo does. I mean, they all do it. They all dip in somewhere where they just want to test some music out.
Yeah.
And just go back to feeling what it was like to sort of on that climb up to so-called stardom, and being able to see people's faces in the crowd and being able to react to people and have people dancing in front of you. You lose all that in the stadium effect. It's just a sea of faces, a sea of moving bodies. You really can't pick people out individually, and you lose a bit of the intimacy of it. You lose a lot of the intimacy, actually.
Part of me would rather see a video of that concert than the mass-produced one that we usually get. Like we've had Shania Twain like concert specials over the years.
Oh yeah,
I think this would be more fun to watch.
Probably, maybe. I mean, that's why we do, what do they call it? The little desk or the small desk concerts. I'm probably getting that incorrect, but the intimacy, right? And that's the whole point of going to festivals. It's the backstages too. Same idea, right? It's the smaller stages that are in the nooks and crannies where you can find artists and they'll take some time and be able to talk about their music, and it's really laid back.
Yeah.
That's what I'm expecting from that kind of show.
And often they will sing something completely out of their genre.
To try something else on, because they feel safe. They feel protected by the smaller crowd, and they feel like they can sort of spread their creative wings and just, go for it. Well, that's really cool.
So, Shania, break a leg, as they say in showbiz. 6:16, here's Lisa with your news headlines.
Good morning. The Provincial Wildfire Service's winds are helping in the fight against a wildfire burning dangerously close to Pemberton. That has led to evacuation orders and alerts. Official Information Officer Emily Fardad says that crews were making progress chipping away at the Signal Hill blaze and that winds were not blowing the flames towards the community at this point. Fardad said structures are not at risk and officials don't expect changes to the evacuation orders and alerts that are already in place. That may be good news for the people of Pemberton. Residents in that town described Wednesday night sitting in their homes watching firefighters battle flames that grew quickly throughout the night. Very disconcerting feeling. Hundreds of pages of emails providing a behind-the-scene glimpse at how Canadian officials scrambled as Washington took aim at a bridge connected between Ontario and Michigan. Of course, we're talking about the Gordie Howe Bridge. Obtained by the Canadian Press under the Access to Information Act, the email shows how a U.S. diplomat raised questions about the bridge during a phone call that was shortly before the U.S. president's comments in February on the project ignited a political frenzy and delayed the structure's opening. A ribbon cutting for the bridge has now been scheduled for July 27th, and this country has agreed to make some adjustments on the revenue sharing deal. Mark Carney didn't say if that would be 50-50 or 60-40 split, but somehow we are sharing the money with the U.S. on the bridge that we built. More than half of 1,000 Canadians asked say they're using fewer plastic products in their daily lives now than they were 5 years ago. A Research Co. survey done earlier this month finds a majority are also in favor of bans currently in place for single-use plastics, at least certain kinds. For example, 60% of Canadians asked support banning flexible plastic rings for beverage six-packs and also plastic stir sticks and plastic checkout bags. 55% say they're using less product. 8% say they're relying on more than they were 5 years ago. And 84% say, yes, we own and we use reusable grocery bags all the time. Good for you. 92% of Canadians aged 55 and up most likely to rely on reusable bags at the grocery store. So we can do better with the older demographic. And that is your news to 6:18.
For a comfortable home, no matter what the season, and big savings on your heating bill, talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. Designed for comfort, the South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. And we have lighter than usual volume across Greater Victoria at this hour. I see no delays. The first available sailing from now is at 7 o'clock, and it has 42% available deck space if you're going from Swartz Bay to the mainland.
The best way to start an island morning. Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070.
A number of recent automotive recalls have caught Lisa's eye from entirely different manufacturers, right from BMW to Toyota and Lexus. It's got us wondering, is there something going on here? Are there trends? Matthew Guy is an automotive writer for publications like Driver, and he's joining us now to help us make sense of all this. Good morning, Matthew. Welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning. How's everyone today?
Good. Now, Lisa picked up on this because Lisa's a sharp cookie.
No, it's always in the news. Every time there's a recall, it's in the news. So it seems like almost every day now there's a recall, and it doesn't really matter the type of vehicle or the quality. It's from luxury to economy. It's right across the board.
Yes, there are. And you're right, Lisa. I mean, there have been, certainly in the news, we've covered a bunch, like you said, from some of those brands, whether they be Honda, BMW, Ford. They certainly have been issuing some recalls that Canadians should be aware of if they own one of these vehicles.
And some of them are quite serious. We're talking about possibility of fires starting.
Yeah, and there was one, the one we mentioned earlier from BMW affects certain SUVs, cars and SUVs, about 26,000 in Canada between the 2021 and 2026 model years. And the information says that the engine starters on certain vehicles might not have been manufactured properly and could overheat. And that would definitely, be a concern. So anything to do with fire is something that someone would want to take care of very, very quickly.
And this Kia one really has got my eye, where they said, park your vehicle outside. Don't park it in the garage. That's concerning.
Yes, I've noticed that too, especially when there's anything to do with heat or anything like that with a recall. Car companies have gotten pretty apt to say, hey, park your car outside somewhere, which is not always possible, right? For some owners, if you have a garage or if you live in a condo or something like that. And I often wonder if that's, to cover, a certain requirement that if something did happen to go wrong in the 1% of vehicles, that if there was something that went wrong with fire, that would happen outside and not inside the building.
No, that's a lawsuit of some sort for sure. Let's go back. Yeah, for sure. Someone's going to pay for that. Let's go back down the chain though, because we're talking a wide swath. It's covering the spectrum of all vehicles, and the reality is, when you pay for a luxury vehicle, you expect it's going to run properly. But they're included in as much, it seems, as the more basic budget vehicles are. So what is happening on the production line, or is it there, that's causing this seemingly rash of different kinds of problems?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because you have this vehicle and then, thousands of parts in it, and you would hope that they are all built to a certain quality, and I'm sure they are. But I know, car companies are always trying to, and every company in the world is trying to save a buck, and sometimes with the change of a manufacturer, something happens. It's like when you replace a ingredient in your recipe for your cake, it has unexpected consequences. Oh, I put baking powder in instead of baking soda. Oops. And it causes an unexpected consequence. And sometimes I've seen that happened with some engine recalls, for example. There might have been a different supplier for a particular type of part in that engine, and that causes problems for the entire engine itself.
What did we used to say? Never buy a car made on a Monday?
And just in case it was a very good weekend,
That's
right? Don't buy one the Monday after the NHL playoff.
Well, you got to wonder what happened on the production line. Or was the synapses firing?
On the flip side, this must be really costly when a manufacturer has to recall a vehicle. Any idea what the cost of some of these things is to them?
I mean, it must be in the millions, guys, because some of the recalls that we do talk about, not the ones here today, but some of the other ones that affect a lot, they can be solved by software. So a lot of cars now can accept like a download, like your computer would update, you know. So if there's something wrong with the screen or whatever, they can do that remotely. But these where they have to bring them into the dealership to replace it with the Honda one that we talked about earlier, replacing subframes and things like that because of rust. That costs an outrageous amount of money. And even at the very basic of it, they don't just tell people about these recalls through the media. They send them letters, right? They send owners letters. So, I mean, just the cost in stamps alone, if you're recalling 100,000 vehicles, that's a lot of money in stamps.
And the staff power.
So
the staff to be able to track all these, to do the paperwork. The manpower.
And then
yeah.
And all of the professional mechanics, right? I mean, all these trained technicians that are in the garage, right? I mean, if you've got a 5-hour job on a car, that's 5 hours you can't do on something else. So they're certainly kept hopping in some of these garages. But one of the things that's helpful, if you go on, the government of Canada has a really good repository of recalls, and it's for everything that you can think of, right? From baby carriages to cars to microwaves to everything. And you can see, if your vehicle, if you have your VIN for your vehicle, you can then go on to the manufacturer's website and see if your vehicle is affected. So there are tools out there for people if they find that they are affected by one of these recalls, and it's important to get them looked after real quick.
Yeah, especially if it's a fire hazard. Buyer beware comes to mind.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
When you're spending so much money on a depreciating asset.
Yes, caveat emptor, but also caveat vendor too. Let the seller beware and make sure that they're putting things out there that are fully vetted and fully tested before they hit the lot.
So are they testing them enough?
I think so. I mean, there are definitely use cases that are very, very hard to predict, especially up here in Canada where you have so much rust, where you have so much different things on the roads. I do think that there are edge cases that crop up that do cause some of these recalls that would affect, say, 1% of the number of these Hondas that are recalled for a subframe recall, right? So the headline number is 136,000 Hondas have been recalled, or whatever the number was. Mm-hmm. That's a lot, but only, a small percentage might actually be affected. It's a good thing, I think, that every one of them is brought in and checked to make sure that they're okay before being sent back out.
So it begs a question, Matt, what do you have parked in your driveway?
What do I have parked in my driveway? That's a very good question. I am looking at a 2018 Dodge Challenger right now.
Okay.
Wow.
It's safe.
It is safe. Yeah, so I did put a water pump on it a couple of years ago, but that was about it.
Seems to be the easy thing nowadays. Thanks for joining us this morning, Matthew. I love your sense of humor about all this as well. And thanks for getting up early and chatting with us about all these recalls.
Oh, thank you for having me on the show, you guys. I appreciate it.
Matthew Guy, automotive writer with Driver.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island.
Victoria Symphony presents Symphony in the Summer Festival, July 10th through August 9th. Details at victoriasymphony.ca. Catch all the excitement of summer baseball with the Victoria Harbour Cats. More info at harbourcats.com. Have an event you want featured on CFAX 1070? Text us at 71010 to be featured.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
It's 6:31 here at CFAX 1070 at CTV Vancouver Island. Friday, July the 17th. Chance of some drizzle this morning. Time for CFAX 1070 News. Here's Lisa Best.
We've had a big jump in wildfire activity in BC with our hot, dry conditions. Of course, the campfire ban is now in place. It came into effect at noon yesterday. So unfortunately, if you're going into the wilderness, you don't want to have a fire. But we do have tinder dry conditions across BC, and that has had the active wildfire situation jump to 45 from 31 yesterday. We've had 23 new fires start in the last day. That includes one up near Qualicum Beach, but crews have that under control. Gonna make quick work of that. But 16 of those fires in BC, the 45 active wildfires, are considered out of control. The BC Wildfires says winds are helping the fight against that fire burning near Pemberton that has led to evacuation orders and alerts. The mayor of the community, Mike Richmond, says the situation is being well resourced by the province.
Number of airplanes dropping water and retardant, and they were trying to hold the line on the hydro lines side of things to make sure power didn't get cut, and then obviously said that it wouldn't creep closer to town. They did a great job holding that line.
Residents in Pemberton have described Wednesday night surreal, watching their homes as firefighters battled flames that quickly grew through the night. A lot of people out east choking through wildfire smoke, and that fire, of course, billowing, that smoke, I should say, is billowing across the border into the U.S. ABC News Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z with that.
Just check Chicago's AQI. It's 417 this morning. Remember, you don't want to spend a lot of time outdoors if it's above 150. So when you go out, check airnow.gov, and anywhere from Minnesota right down through Wisconsin into the mid-Atlantic, like Baltimore and Philadelphia, we're waking up, and this afternoon could still have poor air quality. Timing-wise, though, we will start to see some relief as we get into Saturday night here in New York City. It will start to push out of Michigan by Saturday morning, and then it'll kind of just be diluting a bit.
Torontonians choking through it yesterday in Toronto. They were advising pregnant women to not go out at all. Prime Minister Mark Carney defending the government's approach to the environment and wildfires as a growing number of U.S. politicians are pointing the finger at Canada, criticizing us for the smoke that's impacting the U.S. Carney says that the government is taking an investment-driven approach to climate and the environment. In a letter addressed to Carney yesterday, 4 members of the House of Representatives from Michigan accused Canada of failing to conduct adequate forest maintenance to reduce wildfire risks and warned officials to look elsewhere and act on their own if more action isn't taken. We'll let you know what happens when we have fires beefed up in Oregon and Washington State, which historically come into play later this summer. Now, the perils of smoke in the lungs and heart is becoming more and more prevalent. It also affects your brain, apparently. Research shows those tiny particles, wildfire smokes, known as PM2.5 or fine particulate matter, are so small they can travel deep into your lungs. Dr. Bhavina Goel is a clinical associate professor at the University of Calgary.
We're probably in sort of severe state right now with the air quality. And the particulate matter, which is the PM2.5, what happens is it sort of, you can either sort of breathe it in through the lungs and it crosses the blood-brain barrier, or you can actually sort of inhale it through the nose as well, and then it goes straight to the brain.
It's really quite alarming. Goel explains that when the toxins reach your brain, they can cause inflammation, resulting in fogginess, lack of focus, and causing a headache. Increasing exposure of these harmful wildfire particles can cause long-term damage to brain cells, leading to cognitive decline. On that note, Canada's drug agency has recommended the public drug plan play for lecanemab. That treatment shown to slow the progression of early-stage Alzheimer's disease if patients meet certain conditions. Dr. Michael Borey is a medical director of aging and memory at St. Joseph's Healthcare in London, Ontario. He says at more than $32,000 per year for this drug, most of his patients just can't afford it.
Those who are able to do it were a few, but for many people that we've spoken to, they just, as soon as I mention that figure, they say this is not even an option for us. They don't even consider it. So it automatically excludes most of the people we're seeing.
Yeah, no doubt. The agency's previous decision issued in February recommends against publicly funding the treatment due to concerns about its effectiveness and the potential of brain swelling or bleeding. That's your news to 6:36. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We were asking if you're going to be tuning in, watching the World Cup final on Sunday. Only about a third, 33% say yes. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time is 6:37.
Thank you, Lisa. Weather forecast for Greater Victoria, mainly cloudy today, a 30% chance of drizzle early this morning, clearing this afternoon, a high near 20. Partly cloudy tonight, low down to 14, clearing tomorrow with a high near 23, sunny on Sunday with a high near 25. Right now in downtown Victoria, it's 12 degrees. Air quality. It was a problem for soccer players yesterday. 2 cancellations of note. The Pacific FC match in Hamilton and the Whitecaps game in Chicago were both canceled due to air quality concerns. Victoria Shamrocks down to 4 games remaining in the Western Lacrosse League season. Shamrocks lead the league with a 12-2 record, just 2 points ahead of New West with a game in hand. Third place Coquitlam provides the opposition tonight in Colwood. That's a 6:30 start. Victoria Harbour Cats resume West Coast League play tonight as they host Wenatchee for a 3-game series. That's a 6:35 first pitch. There's CFL football here on CFAX 1070 tonight. The 1-3 BC Lions are in Edmonton to take on the Elks. That's a 6 o'clock kickoff. At the Open Championship at Royal Birkdale, Lucas Herbert is your leader at 8 under par. He is 2 shots ahead of Jackson Suber and Sunjae Im. Checking your traffic situation at 6:40. Just a little slowdown on the Trans-Canada Victoria bound as you go by Island Highway. Picks up right after that, and no other serious delays. At the ferry terminal, the next available sailing comes up at 7 o'clock. It has 43% available deck space right now. There's one minor delay at the airport. The Pacific Coastal Airlines 7:45 a.m. flight to Vancouver, delayed 10 minutes. It's now scheduled for 7:55. Here's what happened in the business world yesterday.
Canada's main stock index slipped yesterday. Toronto's S&P TSX falling 76 points to 35,340. In New York, the Dow lost 105 points and the Nasdaq dropped 387. In Tokyo this morning, the Nikkei was down almost 2,700 points. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong shed 466. Our dollar is trading at around 71.25 cents US. Canada's Natural Resources Minister has pitched First Nations chiefs on Ottawa's major projects push, but many chiefs skeptical of Tim Hodgson's message. They pledge to oppose any government moves that undermine Indigenous rights or environmental protections. Canada's Drug Agency recommending public coverage of lecanemab. The Alzheimer's drug has in some cases been shown to slow early-stage disease progression. It's a reversal of an earlier decision that guarded against public coverage, and wildfire smoke is impacting some Southern Ontario wineries and wine tours. It's meant some tourists are rebooking or cancelling altogether. From the Canadian Press Business Desk, I'm Aaron Sousa.
6:42 here at CFAX 1070. Steve and Lisa with you. You know, I'm a big fan of creativity, right?
Yep.
Yep.
It's in your wheelhouse, yeah?
Yep. Remember the ShamWow guy?
Yes.
I think he ended up running for office, didn't he?
I thought he lived a troubled life in the end, but
Yeah.
he may have run for office too, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
ShamWow.
So
we all had one.
The folks at the Pender Island Fire Department picked up on ShamWow guy.
Pender Island is always posted. That fire department is extremely active on social media, and they're funny.
So, of course, the fire bans came back in yesterday.
Yes.
So
for campfires, yes. Category 1.
They, of course, came up with a video that I would like to share with you this morning.
Okay.
You ready?
Okay. It's a video, yeah.
Hi, it's Captain Todd with the band WOW. You're going to say WOW every time you don't light a fire. It holds up to 20 times its weight in water. You getting this, camera guy? You'll see why in a second. The band WOW can drench campfires. It can soak incinerator fires. It can even blast a backyard fire. Its moistness can't be beat. Now, how much would you pay for the band WOW? $50? $100? It costs
absolutely nothing.
Band WOW. Coming to your neighborhood. Oh, it's already in your neighborhood as of noon yesterday.
And it's basically a hose, right? That's what he's got.
The fire hose. Okay, now we get it. The translation there.
So, hats off.
Oh,
the salute
so
to the Pender Island Fire Department.
Yeah, and we've tried to get them on, but they're too busy with social media lately. We wanted to have a chat with them about how funny they are while they're fighting fires.
Yeah.
So I don't know how busy it is on Pender Island, but you can bet it's tinder dry.
It is. It is. And they have a lot of land in a natural state.
Yes.
So, like...
Wilderness, like?
Well, it's not necessarily all trees.
No.
But it's more of the, grasses and stuff that can easily catch.
Burns very fast, yeah.
Yeah, so... Hats off. We appreciate people getting the message across in a very nice,
funny way.
Yeah, not hitting people over the head too many times, right?
No, because that becomes wallpaper. And
Yes.
we're all adults and we all realize it, but still. They're a pretty funny crew. Some of the stuff that they post is very funny. So I suggest if you're on social media, check them out.
Yes. Coming up to 6:45, here's Lisa with your news headlines.
BC Centre for Disease Control warning you to be aware of green algae blooms forming on lakes across the province as the weather warms up for the summer. Of course, it's been historically known that a number of lakes in our region always have green algae blooms and our beaches are closed, so always watch for the signs. The blue-green algae, the blooms becoming more and more common the warmer temperatures, and it creates a health risk, and it can be deadly for animals. The centre is asking you to avoid drinking or entering contaminated water. Watch for the signage and advise local authorities if you notice anything on the water. Check before you swim or especially consume it. The Art Gallery of Greater Victoria's annual paint-in happens this weekend. This is a big deal. The popular community event features the work of more than 150 artists that will be set up along Moss Street in Plain, 11 till 4 on the weekend and expected to draw thousands of visitors. Now, Wikipedia advising drivers and nearby residents to plan ahead for temporary road closures. This goes Saturday, and it's worth it just for the postcard effect for all the people in the streets. Gorgeous photo. Moss Street closed from Purcell and Rockland to between Fort and Dallas, so the whole stretch of Moss Street pretty much. However, traffic will still be able to move through at Fairfield and Moss Street, so be aware of that if you're walking the street. A spokesperson for the Royal Canadian Legion says the institution remains a staple in Canadian communities. They've seen a surge in new memberships lately. The Legion's Noomja Bond says that over the last century, the organization's purpose has expanded beyond serving veterans and their families to include promoting public awareness and sacrifices made by Canadian soldiers. This afternoon, Governor General Louise Arbour will participate in a commemorative ceremony at the National War Memorial in Ottawa to honor the Legion's 100th, while the Canada Post is expected to unveil a new anniversary stamp, that to come as well. That's your news to 646.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island.
Victoria Symphony presents Symphony in the Summer Festival, July 10th through August 9th. Details at victoriasymphony.ca. Catch all the excitement of summer baseball with the Victoria Harbour Cats. More info at harbourcats.com. Have an event you want featured on CFAX 1070? Text us at 71010 to be featured.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
It's coming up to 6:49 here at CFAX 1070, and we'd like to remind you that Mornings on CFAX 1070 are brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Their buy one, get one free event is on now. Stock up on some of the items your family enjoys the most. See your flyer for details. On the highways, lighter than usual volume, as usual on a Friday. That little delay on the Trans-Canada southbound by Island Highway seems to have cleared itself up. It's actually busier on Island Highway as you go through View Royal than it is on the T-Can right now. So, pretty easy way to get around this morning. Lighter than usual volume.
It's all here. News, weather, traffic, and community events. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
A big deal in the tourism industry locally was announced this week as Pursuit Attractions and Hospitality, Inc. bought Eagle Wing Tours for more than $23.5 million. Brett Soberg is staying on as general manager of Eagle Wing and joining us now to talk about this. Good morning, Brett. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, and good morning to Victoria. How are you doing? Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, great to have you on. So, my understanding is this wasn't exactly planned by you. They came to you.
Definitely was not planned. My business partner, Don Stewart, and I were approached a few years ago, actually, in 2024, and lo and behold, out of the woodwork, we had at least at minimum 6 organizations of varying scales and quality approach us and say, hey, what's going on? And we said, well, we're not too sure. So, of course, as prudent businessmen, we look at any opportunity that comes across our desk, and it shook out the way it shook out. And Pursuit very clearly and quickly rose to the surface into a different stratosphere, especially when it comes to quality of people and their ethos and their core values, which align harmoniously with our own.
Now, when you raise something from kind of scratch, it's pretty tough to let it go. So why did you go forward with a merger like this?
Well, I mean, there's lots of personal reasons. I can't speak on behalf of the Stewart family and on behalf of myself and my family. There's lots of reasons. You know, when you get into that stage in life, you start to think about legacy. You start to think of sustainability. How can you move your baby, as you put it, the business forward in a meaningful way? You know, we're born and raised local boys. We love the place that we call home, and we just want home to be better, healthier, stronger, and more vibrant as a result of what we've built. So the things that come into your mind very quickly are, okay, you've got Eagle Wing Tours. It's a passion project near and dear to our hearts and our people. That was the first thing that popped into our heads. How can we absolutely, unequivocally preserve our people? The people are the heart of Eagle Wing and have been for well over 20 years. And there were just some non-negotiables that we were very clear throughout the entire process, and Pursuit embraced that.
Now, Pursuit is more of a tourism experience kind of company. So, for example, they own a lot of stuff in both Banff and Jasper in particular, and they kind of market all that together. Does this represent an entry into the Victoria market that might be expanded upon?
Well, I certainly hope so. I'm biased. I think Victoria is a pretty cool place to live in.
We both do, yeah.
Invite people from all over the world. Why wouldn't you? I hope they do. I think it's a pivotal piece. I think Victoria is a great place. It's a gateway to the West Coast and the beautiful place we call the Sailor Sea. And Eagle Wing Tours, I think, is a perfect fit. I think it's a great piece to launch their portfolio onto the West Coast here.
Now, they've had the odd issue, and some of them tragic, in the Columbia ice fields, and some lawsuits that basically there were some safety issues that were raised by Alberta workplace safety, those kind of things. Did you look into that, and have they assured you that your staff will be, get the training and stuff that they need to be successful?
Well, I can assure you, when they approached us, they made it very clear that Eagle Wing is business as usual. And when I say business as usual, Eagle Wing has an immaculate safety record. We're fantastic at what we do. We are federally regulated. I'm a full-time licensed captain as well as general manager and a bit an owner. So I was a captain first, to be honest, actually, before I got into an ownership role at Eagle Wing, now a co-founding role at Eagle Wing Tours as general manager. And safety is at the heart of what we do. That's priority number one, safety of not only our people, our staff, our team, and the environment.
Now, you guys are really well hooked into what's going on the water. And I always am amazed on what a great job, presentation-wise, you do for visitors in terms of showing them what's environmentally responsible, giving the whales the respect they need, the space they need, if at all possible, all those things. Have you noticed more whales and things out there this year?
I tell you, I've been doing this since 1997. I'm a lot older than I sound, and things are positive. I certainly have seen a positive shift in the marine ecosystem. A lot of that has to do with the resurgence and the comeback of the humpback whales in the area, and the healthy population of big orca, or the mammal-eating orca. When we stopped killing the whales commercially in the mid-'60s, going from about 1,000 humpback whales to well over 40,000, what we effectively have done is we've increased the fertilization of the coastal region, because these massive animals consume huge amounts of food. And they recycle it. It goes out the rear end, trickles down to the bottom of the ocean, and the phytoplankton get very excited, eating what's naturally been brought to their front doorstep, and the cycle continues. And it's fabulous. I've seen more bird activity, more krill, more forage fish activity in around the greater Victoria region. and more specifically the last 10 years. I can actually wholeheartedly make that statement with a great deal of confidence, having seen that myself. So it's very, very positive.
And the fishermen are saying there's a lot more salmon out there, too.
I can see a lot of salmon out there as well. I would concur.
Wow. It's kind of encouraging, right? Because you even put, like, you support 25 organizations through your Planet Commitment. There's a wildlife fee that is directed towards conservation, environmental, and community partners across the region. So it's more than just lip service.
We like to think so. Very early on, Don and I saw an opportunity to elevate what we felt a model whale watching operator could look like back in 2005 to 2008. And we have since donated $1.8 million, was the last total, into local organizations within the boundaries of the Salish Sea. Many of them are in the Greater Victoria region. Some are a little bit further north as far as Campbell River and over to the west coast near Vancouver. And it all deals with research, conservation, sustainability, and education projects. We have a fabulous international award-winning education program where we've been able to get 14,000 kids through the program since 2018. It's life-changing for a lot of people. Many of your listeners probably have heard about this program or know somebody in the family that have gone through the program. And it's meaningful. And when we're out on the water, we're able to make that emotional connection to not only what people are experiencing with their own eyes, smelling, or even tasting kelp, but when we tell them that we're helping preserve Race Rock's ecological reserve by upgrading various systems over the last 10, 12 years, that's meaningful. It adds a little special something to their iconic experience that they're having on the water.
So what's Eagle Wing's future look like from your point of view?
I'm excited. I gotta be honest, I haven't been an employee in a long time. But I can tell you, being born and raised and general manager, as far as I'm concerned, business as usual, bring it on. We're going to continue to apply polite pressure where it's needed to make sure that Victoria is healthier. Regenerative tourism is near and dear to our hearts. Our team are just ridiculously passionate about what we do out on the water, and I'm just so proud to be able to be working alongside of them to push this forward into the future. And Pursuit is also really excited. And there's some good ideas, and I'll just tease you with that.
Well, I love your enthusiasm and your passion towards what you're doing, and congratulations on the sale, and we'll keep an eye as you move forward with Eagle Wing.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for the opportunity. Hope everybody has a great day today.
Brett Soberg, General Manager of Eagle Wing Tours.
CFAX Victoria,
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, Vancouver Island, 7 o'clock, Friday, July 17th. Chance of some drizzle this morning. Time for CFAX 1070 News. Here's Lisa Best.
Prime Minister Mark Carney says Ottawa will spend nearly $2 billion over the next 4 years to expand the Canada Armed Forces fleet of light armored vehicles by 190 vehicles. London-based General Dynamics Land Systems Canada will build them. The Prime Minister said that with more Canadian companies partnering with the government, more opportunities will grow.
What happens in return is that the federal government will act as an anchor customer, will accelerate approvals, and will open doors to new export markets.
The defence strategy seeks to build out Canada's national security capacities using domestic suppliers whenever possible. With homegrown providers aren't always available, the government will look to partner with other nations to buy off-the-shelf programs. The Royal Canadian Legion is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year.
The Governor General will take part in a commemorative ceremony at the National War Memorial in Ottawa this morning, while Canada Post will unveil a new stamp marking the occasion later this afternoon. Now, the Royal Canadian Legion was formed after the First World War and officially incorporated in July 1926. It has about 300,000 members and more than 1,350 branches right across the country. The Legion is currently offering free memberships and says 100,000 people have already joined the organization this year. Rob Westgate, The Canadian Press.
The BC Wildfire Service says we have 45 active wildfires burning the province. That's up from 31 yesterday. 23 new starts in the last 24 hours, including one near Qualicum Beach here on Vancouver Island. Crews already have that under control. 16 other fires across BC are considered out of control. We have 180 active fires burning out east in Ontario. 63 in that province considered out of control. People choking through the smoke. The wildfire smoke still impacting air quality parts of that province, including the Toronto area. And of course, it's billowing across the border into the U.S., something that Canada can't control, but it still raised the hackle of a lot of leaders in Michigan and states along the border. Environment Canada says the smoky conditions could temporarily improve today in Ontario. However, the agency's latest forecast says the hazy conditions will likely persist going into the weekend. This as experts again raise health concerns about wildfire smoke that apparently go beyond the lungs to your brain. Dr. Bivina Goel is a clinical associate professor at the University of Calgary. She says increased exposure to this fine particulate matter can lead to cognitive decline.
The impacts that you see with that PM 2.5 and what we're beginning to realize with the studies is we're starting to see sort of cellular damage, so damage happening to the brain cells as well as some inflammation, so neuroinflammation as we call it in the brain.
When toxins reach the brain, she says the brain can react with fogginess, lack of focus, and headache, all things you want to avoid. In fact, in Toronto yesterday, they were saying that pregnant women shouldn't just be going outside at all due to the level of smoke in the air. We now know the source of that outbreak of cyclosporiasis that had made thousands of people sick throughout the U.S.
A source familiar with the investigation says the outbreak of the severe stomach bug spreading across the country has now been linked to shredded iceberg lettuce served at Taco Bell locations in 5 states: Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, and West Virginia.
Really got to be careful with what you eat nowadays. A source says that lettuce came from a single supplier in Mexico. That's where they've traced it. Taco Bell says the lettuce will be replaced within 24 hours, but some people were actually hospitalized for this illness. And a recall's no, but even though it was mostly stateside, it's Pillsbury rolls. It could be a danger. ABC's Sophie Flay explains why.
More than 700,000 Pillsbury dinner rolls are being recalled because they could contain glass. The rolls were distributed in 18 states from California to New York. They were marketed to businesses like bakeries and delis rather than individual consumers.
Always check the Health Canada site for any recalls that may be in place. That is your news to 7:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. We've got the final coming up on Sunday after, a month of the beautiful game? Watching the pitches. Will you be watching the World Cup final on Sunday? 33% say they'll be tuning in. You can vote at CFAX1070.com. Also on the iHeartRadio app. Emily Sebastian news time is 7:06.
Is this the time I get to brag?
Yeah.
Who did I say would be in the final?
Who did you say?
I said Spain looked like the best team coming out of the round robin.
Okay.
Who's in the final?
Spain.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well,
saying.
You know what you're talking about when on the pitch. You know your way around it.
That's why I wore my Canada jersey today.
I was hoping it was going to be like Norway and Canada or something. It'd be way out there.
That would have been so much fun. Imagine if we had made it.
Whoa,
that would have been so much fun.
I know. But you know what? We got further than we thought we were going to get.
That's correct. Round of 16.
Yep. Never been there before.
I'm proud of the team, especially with the injuries to key members of the squad. They still got to the final 16.
And we'll always have this, too. Never forget the Viking invasion.
Can I just say one thing? That I respect Norway as a sports nation.
Absolutely.
Because they're good at just about everything.
They're like almost Canadians, really.
Well, they're better than us at some things.
Okay, well,
like their hockey team beat Team Canada at the World Hockey Championships this year.
Was Holland on the team?
No, he wasn't. Like, when it comes to biathlon and cross-country skiing and all that stuff, they're always there.
And they're look at the Olympic medal count for Norway in the winter. What I love about Norway is they're kind of Canadians from afar. That's how I see them. I mean, they're not Canadians, obviously, but they have the same humility that Canadians have. They'll do big things. Oh, that was okay. I did okay. They have that about them, and I adore that because that's how Canada is.
The other amazing,
we don't brag.
The other amazing thing, how many people do you think are in Norway?
Maybe 6 million?
Correct, 5.6. So, and a million and a half live around Oslo. It just goes to show you, you can still be small, but you can be mighty as well.
That's right. Good point.
Yes. Weather forecast for Greater Victoria, 30% chance of drizzle early this morning, clearing this afternoon, a high near 20. Partly cloudy tonight, a little windy near the Juan de Fuca Strait, low down to 14. Clearing tomorrow with a high near 23. Sunny on Sunday with a high near 25. Right now it's 12 degrees. Speaking of sports, Mother Nature got in the way of sports a little bit last night. 2 soccer matches were canceled due to air quality. The Pacific FC match in Hamilton and the Vancouver Whitecaps game in Chicago. Shamrocks hosting Coquitlam tonight in WLL action. That's a 6:30 start. We'll have the coach on coming up at 7:20 this morning. Harbor Cats resume West Coast League play tonight. It's Armed Forces night as they host Wenatchee, first of a 3-game series. Blue Jays and Mariners back after the All-Star break. Toronto hosting the White Sox. Mariners entertain San Francisco. There's CFL football on CFAX tonight. 1-3 BC Lions are in Edmonton to take on the Elks. You can hear it right here beginning at 6. Defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks have the rookies reporting for training camp today. Round number 2 underway at the British Open at Royal Birkdale. Lucas Herbert, your leader by 2 strokes right now. 7:11 here at CFAX 1070. No delays on the highways or byways today. Everything on time except for that one flight from Pacific Coastal Airlines at the airport. It's originally scheduled to go to Vancouver at 7:45, delayed 10 minutes to 7:55. The rest of the day unencumbered. And at the ferry terminal, the next available sailing at 8 o'clock, just 10% available deck space there. On the markets this morning, the TSX is down 164 points at 35,175. The Dow Jones down 114 at 52,438. And the NASDAQ down 481 points at 25,400. The Canadian dollar is up 16 basis points at 71.4 cents U.S.
Don't attempt your morning commute without us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
You know what's happy about this weekend as well?
What?
Like, we've got all kinds of stuff happening in and around Victoria.
100%. You need to have the Platinum Crowbar for your social life
Yes.
in order to get it all in.
Dallas is going to take us through some of this. But,
coming up, yeah.
You know, we got Crab Fest going on. We got the art thing. It's a bit another busy weekend downtown.
Huge. And then when you say Dallas, this is Dallas from Vic Food Guys, who's just a foodie to the nth degree. So he'll talk about all the different things you can eat around town.
But there's something.
Yes?
Something you need to put on your schedule for Sunday.
What's that?
Cream Day. Not that
Here it is. Here's Bree Tennis, and you know I love Bree.
Sunday is National Ice Cream Day. Not that you need a reason to get in an extra scoop or two. According to the International Dairy Foods Association, the average American eats 23 pounds of it a year. That's 2 pints a month, more if you're above average. Chocolate, the number one flavor, followed by butter pecan and vanilla. And if you're among the 3% of people who don't like ice cream, Sunday is also National Daiquiri Day. I'm Bree Tennis.
I got to kind of cover
so
there.
Much information in 25 seconds.
Sorry, 23 pounds? 23 pounds. I mean, the average American, you could think Canada's the same. 23 pounds of ice cream a year?
Seems like a lot, doesn't it?
Favorite?
My favorite all time is the grape ice cream at the Stony Creek Dairy in Stony Creek, Ontario.
What? Sorry, my jaw was open there. Grape?
Grape.
So is it purple?
Yes, it was.
Oh.
But the dairy is no more.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yes.
I remember as a child, I loved bubblegum ice cream.
That was a good one.
Because by the time you were finished the ice cream, which was like sort of a blue, and it had bubblegum embedded in it, so you'd be left with a big wad of gum. I liked that. It was fun. But favorite? Really boring. I like soft serve. I'm a big fan of soft serve.
The other thing I would point out is that Victoria has a very, very high level of their own ice cream manufacturing.
Oh, yes. Parachute is one.
Yeah, but you got like 3 or 4, like...
Kid Sister?
Yes, and there's one more. I have it in my freezer right now in the bar.
Uh-oh. It's screaming at you. You'll think of it after.
Yeah, I will.
I'm going to give them the plug now that we've given the other plugs. And we also have, we have a big dairy maker right here on Blanchard who churns out the ice cream. Phenomenal.
Yes. I partake in theirs as well. The other good one is Chapman's, which is also a Canadian company.
Oh, yeah.
So they have developed their own elite line.
Really?
To compete with, the littler ones that you can get in the grocery aisle?
The gourmet, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
so
are fantastic.
like Haagen-Dazs is like $7.99 of those ones. And Tom and Jerry's is all.
Well, we compete. We have a lot of local churners that compete with things like Haagen-Dazs because we can do better than that. And we do better than that.
But Chapman's?
Yeah.
Canadian company?
Yeah.
Canadian packaging? Everything Canadian? Pretty solid. The chocolate chip cookie dough in those.
I still say go local. There's a new one down. Well, it's a couple months now, maybe longer. Down on Cook Street in Cook Street Village, people walk around, buy a nice ice cream sandwich or something, and move throughout the village, do some shopping, have your ice cream. Life is good.
I think we need the listeners to weigh in on ice cream opportunities for Sunday.
Tell us your favorite. Text us your favorite.
71010. It's going to bother me. I'm not going to come up. That name is.
Someone's going to help you with it. Local maker. There's a lot of local makers. I mean,
Hazel's. That's it.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I have that in my freezer right now.
Huh.
So
Okay. And the flavor?
it's it was on sale. It was a chocolate with like sprinkles of candy cane on the top of it.
Oh, that sounds really decadent.
Yeah, it is. It's
Okay. Hazel's. It's chocolate with candy cane sprinkles. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to
I
pick some
don't
of that
think
up.
that's what it's called.
I don't need an excuse to eat ice cream. Portion control is my story of my life.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you're going around on Sunday, you do need to celebrate. This is like a big occasion.
Sunday is ice cream day.
Yes.
And I will say that on Sunday, in honor of ice cream day, even though it's not local, Dairy Queen, if you download their app, you get a sundae for $1.
Really?
Really. But it's not local, so I was kind of,
But they employ local people.
They do employ local people, but still, buy local ice cream if you can, because I would say it's always paramount and always better.
And we have some real creative people out there. Mr. Tubbs. Like you said, parachute.
Yes.
Overboard ice cream.
Yeah.
Cold Comfort ice cream.
Cold Comfort. That's the one that's in, I believe Cold Comfort is in Cook Street Village now. Kid Sister.
Jackson's Ice Cream Float.
Where's that?
There's a marble slab. 49 below. They do good stuff.
Yes, their ice cream, you can pick that up at a lot of different shops.
The Beacon Drive-In, of course.
That's good whipped cream.
And some of them have the Dole Whip whipped into things now.
If you're lactose intolerant.
Yeah, we're making people depressed on that side, aren't we?
No, I'm lactose intolerant and I still eat the ice cream. There's some things I'm not to negotiate on. Deal with it, stomach.
7:18, here's Lisa with your news headlines.
Evacuation orders still in place for a picturesque mountain community in our province as crews battle wind whip wildfire. Spokesperson Emily Fardad with the BC Wildfire Service says there's been some progress on the Signal Hill blaze as the winds are not blowing flames towards Pemberton at this point and its 3,400 residents. Farhad said that no structures are at risk at this point. Officials don't expect changes to the evacuation orders and alerts that are already in place despite visible flames and smoke from the now 38-hectare blaze. The body of a 45-year-old man presumed to have drowned in Okanagan Lake last weekend has been recovered. Police have confirmed that the missing man's body was found by underwater researchers from the RCMP at a depth of 80 meters. Officials say there's no evidence of criminality in the death. The man was not wearing a life jacket when he drowned. The man was reported missing last Saturday after being thrown off an inflatable tube being towed by a boat. The boat operator himself needed rescuing after jumping in the water to attempt to save the victim. Wear your life jacket this weekend if you go swimming. And the U.S., Midwest, and into Ontario, for the most part, the worst air quality in the world this morning. New data from the Air Quality Index, IQ Air, says the air in that area now considered hazardous due to the wildfire smoke blowing in. The air was so smoky in Chicago, Toronto yesterday that many day camps had to be moved indoors. Events were canceled. Many people, actually as far as east as New York City, where the air has officially been deemed unhealthy. That is your news to 7:19.
For a comfortable home, no matter what the season, and big savings on your heating bill, talk to Coastal Heat Pumps, designed for comfort, the South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. If you were planning on getting on the 8 o'clock ferry from Swartz Bay to the mainland, you might want to have a plan B. It is already full. The next available sailing's at 9 o'clock this morning. It has 19% available deck space. I don't see any delays out there on the highways right now.
Thanks for starting your day with us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
The Victoria Shamrocks down to 4 games remaining in the Western Lacrosse League season. They're atop the league at 12-2, just 2 points ahead of New West with a game in hand. Joining us now is the coach of the very successful local franchise, Chris Welsh, and just getting an idea where the season's taken place so far and what we have to look forward to for the playoffs. Good morning, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Steve. And I just have to correct one thing right off the top. I'm not the coach. Bruce Alexander is our coach. My role with the club is general manager.
Okay, that was Steve trying to do 3 things at once. Thanks for
no problem.
So 12-2, you got to be satisfied.
Yeah, we're feeling pretty good about where we are. If you would have told me at the start of the year we would win 12 of our first 14, you take that all day, every day. So not going to complain. Maple Ridge is nipping at our heels, and tonight we're battling to secure home floor advantage in the first round of the playoffs, which will be starting up after the long weekend in August. So it's a big game with lots to play for tonight.
Now, we should mention, by the way, the Junior A Shamrocks just got their playoff schedule. They'll host Port Coquitlam tomorrow, 3:30 as well, in Game 1 of the best-of-5 semifinal at the Q Center. So we'll get that in. Now, you've got Coquitlam in the building. I actually seem to remember this was the first game I saw this season, and it was a competitive match. It was back and forth and high tempo.
Yeah, that's the way Coquitlam plays, and it's certainly our style as well. So it's a good matchup that way. And it would have been the first game anybody saw this year because we hosted them in our very first game of the season back in, I think it was May 22nd. And we came away with a win that night. And then we played them a second time over at their place and came away with a win there too. So we have the season series with these guys, but like I said, we want to clinch home floor advantage in round 1, and that's what's at stake for us tonight. And for our fans, tonight there's a chance to make it a extra special weekend. Friday nights are always great, but for somebody it's going to be very special because our Mega 50-50 is happening tonight. We've got a huge jackpot of over $30,000 in climbing, and sales remain going on all day today and at the game tonight. And in the third period, we're going to have a big winner called for a really large jackpot. We're hoping it can get to the same kind of levels the Grizzlies and the BC Hockey League were able to grow their Mega 50-50 to over 50,000. So ours is well on its way at over 30 in climbing, and it'll make somebody's night extra exciting tonight, that's for sure.
And you've got an incentive to be one of the first 1,250 fans, right?
That's right. One of the first 1,250 fans who are 19 and over will get a free $20 ticket, which gives you 24 numbers in the Mega 50-50. So, all the more reason to get down there early and get your seats for, great WLA lacrosse action at the Q Center tonight at 6:30.
Now, as you look ahead, 3 games left. Are you healthy?
Yeah, I don't want to jinx anything here, but at the moment we are, we're pretty good. You're always a little banged up at this point. Nobody gets away completely scot-free, but so far, touch wood, we haven't had any, major, season-ending type of injuries this year, which has been a nice break for us because the last few seasons we've been, pretty decimated by injuries by this point. And this year, so far, so good. And, we really need to keep that going and keep everyone healthy, because that's an absolutely huge part of a team's success, is the ability to, not have to contend with, significant injuries.
And some of these players are playing almost year-round, between playing, in the professional lacrosse league that we see nationally on TSN with our own Brad Challoner, to, some of them university who play field lacrosse and then work into box lacrosse. Like, it's a grueling time for some of these players.
It absolutely is. And, it takes a real toll on the body. And in our league, you're playing on concrete. And most of the time, a couple teams have wood floors and one team has carpet. But the other 4 of us are all on concrete. Plus, you're practicing out there. So, it is a lot of wear and tear, but, today's athletes are in such good shape. They take such good care of their bodies, and they're so tuned into, nutrition and rest and hydration and all the things that, give them a, better chance to play without, suffering major injuries. That said, they still do happen, and despite all the best precautionary steps, however, but, like I said, this year we've been a little bit lucky, a little luck of the Irish for the Shamrocks in that department. We really hope it continues, and our guys have been really performing at a high level, and it's just great to see.
So once again, get there early, get yourself a free ticket if you're 19 and over to the 50-50 draw, and enjoy some great Western Lacrosse League action. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
Chris Welsh of the Victoria Shamrocks.
Developing political story, a big doozy.
Vashi Capellos.
What started as a dull day is anything but.
The top newsmakers.
Your go-to political debrief. Daily.
What is really going on?
The breaking news.
Just moments ago.
And the entertaining analysis and debate to follow.
I don't think you can sugarcoat it. It's an issue.
It's not true, guys. Yeah.
Vashi Capellos.
There is a greater plan here.
Vashi Capellos. Weekdays 9 a.m. to 11.
Bigger picture politically, which is
on CFAX 1070. CFAX Victoria,
An iHeartRadio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 7:31 here at CFAX 1070 and CTV Vancouver Island. Steve in for Ryan this week. Chance of some drizzle this morning. Things are going to clear up after that. Time for CFAX 1070 News. Here's Lisa Best.
A cautionary tale about investing. A BC man's been accused of using investor funds for travel, dining, his rent, even getting a $3,000 tattoo. The BC Securities Commission says Robert George Henry Tyrer was the sole owner For the People FS Inc., which operated here in the province. He allegedly raised $2.6 million from 85 different investors between January of 22 and May of 24. The commission alleges he told investors that the company conducted foreign exchange trading, earning income by retaining a portion of the trading profits. The $2.6 million he raised, it's believed $1.19 million was used to pay existing investors as well as travel, restaurant, shopping. The commission alleges he purchased a $65,000 watch, a Rolex, spent another $31,000 in change on rent, and nearly $10,000 on personal training, yoga, and yes, there was that $3,000 tattoo as well. BC Highway Patrol on the mainland still busy dealing with bad riders on the heels of a 22-year-old rider with a learner's permit caught doing 177 in an 80 zone on the Sea to Sky Highway last weekend. Police say early this month, dash cam footage from a driver caught a 23-year-old rider weaving in and out of traffic and speeding excessively on Highway 1 in Surrey. The bad actions and license plate through the Surrey area was clearly visible on the high-def dash camera. Police ended up tracking down that rider last week. He's now facing a total fine of well over $1,700, and of course ICBC will want to have a word as well next time he goes to insure. A driver recovering after crashing into a pet supply store in Nanaimo yesterday. Police say the crash happened around 10:30 yesterday morning. A Mazda continued through the parking stall, crossed the sidewalk, slammed into the front of the business. The female driver was treated at the scene with non-life-threatening injuries. Her vehicle towed. Luckily, no one else was injured. Police say there was no signs the driver was impaired, no charges are pending, but the impact did cause extensive damage to the vehicle and shattered the store's front window, so near miss there. BC Wildfire Service says we're jumping in numbers for fires. We went from 45 to 48 active fires just in a couple of hours this morning. We have 26 new starts in the last 24 hours, including one near Qualicum Beach. That is considered under control. But there are 19 fires considered out of control in this province. This is 180 active fires are burning across Ontario alone. 63 of those considered out of control. And the wildfire smoke is what's coming of that, still impacting air quality heavily across that province, across the Toronto area, and it's billowing across the border into the U.S. as well.
Detroit and Chicago among the major cities with the worst air quality worldwide, with visitors to the Windy City feeling the effects.
Come out the subway, chest started to give me some issues, nose was burning, I can taste it.
Milwaukee officials recording their worst ever air quality, more than double the previous record number. One Delta pilot telling passengers not to worry as a smoky smell invaded the cabin flying over New York.
Just want to let you guys know that's the wildfires out west.
Haze triggering flight delays in Philadelphia. Ash even sticking to an American Airlines plane in flight.
Our government taking criticism from the U.S. about the environment and its approach to wildfires yesterday. A growing number of U.S. politicians pointing the finger at Canada for all the wildfire smoke impacting their communities. Mark Carney said the government is taking an investment-driven approach to climate and the environment. In a letter addressed to Carney yesterday, 4 Michigan members of the House of Representatives accused our country of failing to conduct adequate forest maintenance to reduce wildfire risks and warned U.S. officials will look elsewhere and act on their own if more action isn't taken. Not quite sure what that means, but we'll keep you posted. And sources tell ABC News there are new accusations over bets made on one of the most popular prediction markets, Kalshi. And they go right into the White House. The president's longtime teleprompter operator, the guy that rolls the words that he says, is accused of making bets on the words that Trump would use in his speeches. An ABC News Washington managing editor, Catherine Falders, tells the ABC podcast called Start Here that Gabriel Perez would also make last-minute changes to his bets if Donald Trump made last-minute changes to his speeches.
If he noticed, allegedly, that a word Trump had skipped over a word, he skipped over a section, maybe he wasn't going to say that word, at least according to what investigators found, they believe that then he would opt out of that trade.
Perez made thousands of dollars, up to $100,000, placing bets on at least a dozen of Trump's speech on that prediction market. That's your news to 7:36. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. World Cup's coming to an end on Sunday. A lot of soccer over the past month. Will you be watching the final on Sunday morning? Starts 11 our time. 33% say they will be tuning in. You can vote at CFAX1070.com. Also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa Best, your news time, 7:37.
You know, if I'm starting a business, Lisa, I'm going into the ice cream business when it comes to Victoria.
Idea. Yep. It's a big trigger. A happy one.
Shall we go through some of them?
I think so.
Okay. Good morning at the grocery store.
These are responses that people are texting in, right?
Yes, their favorites.
Yes.
Salt Spring Island hazelnut gelato or lemon sorbet. That's very classy.
Both sound fantastic.
Breakwater Cafe has an ice cream shop, all homemade. Every day is ice cream day for Mary. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Butchered Gardens gelato pineapple coconut.
I have had that. It is life-changing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chapman's chocolate chip cake butter is my favorite. I've had that one too. Pretty good.
Okay.
Don't forget about Scoop and Waffle out in Sydney.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, that's cool.
Yep. Chapman's cold brew. I've had that one too. Solid. Island Farms is the absolute best, and that's from Tracy.
I couldn't remember it. I was saying on Blanchard, and I saw that I could see the logo, but I couldn't think. It's Island Farms, ubiquitous ice cream. Pick it up. You can buy the vat of it. Enjoy it with the family.
My
Sounds
favorite
like an
ice
ad,
cream.
doesn't it?
This is the best one.
Okay.
So Dawn.
Yes.
We salute
in
you.
Florida.
My
Dawn's in
favorite
Florida.
ice cream is the one in front of me. 23 pounds seems low.
Right? For America? Yeah. 23 pounds. So it's kind of alarming, but it's impressive at the same time.
It is.
23 pounds of ice cream a year. I don't know. Well, I could see it.
One person, only chocolate.
Okay.
Parachute ice cream is the best, no contest, and not just because my daughter works there. We would never suspect that.
It is very good ice cream. And I think they have a sea salt that's very good, life-altering.
Parachute is by far the best in Greater Victoria area. It has options for everyone, including gluten-free and dairy-free. There's also Cold Comfort in Victoria.
Yes.
Chapman's Peach Melba. I haven't had that one.
That sounds fresh.
Black Raspberry. Yes. There's the place on Salt Spring that does gelato more than ice cream.
Oh, do they do the Cocoa Pot, which is like the super chocolate gelato?
I'm not sure, but I've had that black raspberry.
Oh. And probably fresh raspberries used too, right?
It's
local.
Sometimes the refreshing part of some of those things is huge. Like a refreshing ice cream.
Well, gelato is sort of a palate cleanser, but it's a party in your mouth too. It's worth the price.
Good morning, Steve and Lisa. I tried some cinnamon ice cream when I was on Salt Spring. It was a neat mix of a warm spice with a cold tingle.
Well, that'd be a great combo. By the way, it is Cold Comfort in Cook Street Village that opened up. Yep. See people walking around with ice cream. Would you get that? Where do I find that? Just across the street.
49th Parallel makes dairy-free gluten delicious ice cream. And I think that is, we are now even with all the textures for ice cream.
Got everybody in?
Well, we'll keep shouting out if you have, especially ones up island, because everybody stops in Coombs and gets ice cream, right?
Oh, we got one more. Chapman's Tahitian Vanilla. I like that idea. Wow. Simple vanilla ice cream. You can put anything on it. If it's good vanilla ice cream, you remember, as a kid, vanilla bean, you'd see these little black spots. What's in my ice cream? That's a vanilla bean, dear. Don't be alarmed.
We've come a long way.
We've evolved. I'd like to think so anyway.
Your weather forecast for Greater Victoria. Mainly cloudy, 30% chance of drizzle early this morning, clearing this afternoon, a high near 20. Partly cloudy tonight, low down to 14, clearing tomorrow with a high near 23. Right now it's 12. In sports, Air quality, the issue in sports yesterday. Pacific FC was supposed to play in Hamilton. The weather was too bad, so they didn't have it. No rescheduled yet. The Whitecaps game in Chicago was also canceled due to air quality. Junior A Shamrocks host Port Coquitlam tomorrow. That's a 3:30 start, game 1 of the best-of-5 semifinal in Colwood. Harbor Cats resume West Coast play tonight. They host Wenatchee. There's CFL football tonight here on CFAX 1070, 6 o'clock kickoff as the Lions take on the Elks in Edmonton. Need a cab? Download the new Bluebird Cabs app at Bluebird Cabs Ltd. Bluebird Cabs, proudly local and Canadian owned and run since 1946. Biggest issue you face is if you're trying to get over the mainland today. The 8 o'clock sailing out of Swartz Bay is already full. There's 20% available deck space on the 9 o'clock. Hourly sailings the rest of the day. Just 9% left on the 1 o'clock and 5% left on the 4. So you might want to plan around that. On the markets, TSX is down 50 points at 35,289. The Dow Jones up 8 at 52,561. NASDAQ down 298 at 25,583. And the Canadian dollar up 14 basis points at 71.4 cents U.S.
In the kitchen, in the car, and at the office. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Take us with you. Listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
7:44. We've been talking about two things today, ice cream and the smoke situation.
These two things shall never meet.
Yes. So I wanted to read a press release by an actual U.S. senator to better understand the lunacy behind going on. Okay. So this is the actual writing. I'm going to say it word for word.
Okay. And who it's from?
Yes.
Okay.
Today, well, it says in the press release.
Oh.
Today, Senator Bernie Moreno, Republican, Ohio, announced he will introduce legislation to sanction Canada and Canadian officials for their failure to contain wildfires impacting air quality across Ontario and Ohio and the Great Lakes region. Canada's government failed to invest in wildfire prevention methods, including forest thinning, fuel reduction, prescribed burns, and stronger enforcement against arson.
Okay. Did he send the same kind of letter to California when the arsonists torched half of Palisade?
Well, they blame everything on either us or California, basically.
That's
usually
true.
Are the one or the other.
Well, the thing is, and you know this, you worked in this division. Canada has large tracts of land where no one lives, and it's hard to mitigate wildfires that start usually in the middle of nowhere.
It's a boreal forest. It's tough to get to some of this.
And up north, with the underbrush, it's almost impossible to get those fires out because they actually start burning underground. But you've got to do the research on how fires work here. And we're just not as populated as the U.S. And because we have these large tracts of wilderness, if we don't get to the fires in time, they do get out of hand.
There's also some misnomers in this approach. Like, they think because they wrote last year that we can change the entire approach to wildfire management overnight. well, we told you this was a problem last year and you needed to do something, and it's a year later and now we've got more fires. You know how many years of a certain way of managing forests across North America, including Mexico, was done? It was all about fire suppression.
Mm-hmm. Of course, because we don't want it to burn in the first place.
Yeah. So changing it back overnight, even if we decided through the science, I know, I brought up the word science. I should never do that in a political discussion. But science tells us things. Our Indigenous people tell us things. Mm-hmm. We need to mix all that together.
And we're starting to.
Starting to. And you're seeing some of that here in BC, where we send the attack crews in so quickly, like we did in Qualicum Beach yesterday, and get things under control as quick as we can. We're changing our approach. But you just can't say, well, it's Saturday, we should do a prescribed burn.
No, it doesn't work that way.
You have to have the right weather conditions. You have to have the right fuel conditions. There are a boatload of factors that go into a prescribed burn, for instance.
And I think anybody who's delved into it understands the extent, all the pieces that have to be in place, all the facets that have to be in place before that actually happens. And that would just be one burn. We have a little bit of humor. Someone said that we should tariff the ash from Mount St. Helens that came in across the border. And the thing is, we've dealt with wildfire smoke that's come across the U.S. too.
It's back and forth.
The belief to think that the border is going to stop the wildfire smoke from coming in, and it's our fault for not taking care of it.
Mark Carney has special influence on wind.
Well, let's hope so. But let's sanction the Mount St. Helens ash damage. I like that. That could have legs. Yeah, we could tariff any smoke that comes up from Oregon and Washington State. The thing is, we like our neighbors. I like the people of Washington State. I think they're cool.
Yes, and they are really nice to us, yes.
And they're kind of like quasi-Canadians because we're so close. And I just don't want to think like that. And the fact that, some leaders in Michigan are having a fit, well, they're going to have to calm down about it because there's nothing right now that we can do about it. And it's disheartening for the crews, too, on the ground, thinking that someone is having this kind of discussion while they're just trying to battle the flames and save homes. Yeah. And wildland.
Affected a senator anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read the candidate for governor of Michigan's in the 8 o'clock hour, his little statement and little diatribe, because we need to show how ludicrous all this is. Like, unless we point out ludicrism, it establishes itself, and we're going to have this same argument every year. 7:50. Here's Lisa with your news headlines.
Hundreds of pages of emails, but behind-the-scenes glimpse of how Canadian officials scrambled as Washington took aim at a bridge connecting Ontario and Michigan. It's the Gordie Howe Bridge that's supposed to open, but it's delayed now. The Canadian press obtained emails showing an American diplomat raised questions about the bridge during a phone call. That was shortly before the U.S. president's February comments on the cross-border project ignited a political frenzy, delaying the structure's opening to July 27th now in Canada, making adjustments to actually revenue share the deal. The bridge that we built, we don't know what percentage we're dealing with the U.S., but obviously, hopefully, we did a good deal. More than half of 1,000 Canadians say they're using fewer plastic products in their daily life now than they were 5 years ago. The Research Co. survey done earlier this month finds a majority are also in favor of bans currently in place for certain single-use plastics, including beverage six-pack rings, the plastic stir sticks, and plastic checkout bags, to name three. 8% say they're actually relying more on plastic products than they were before. But 84% own and reuse reusable grocery bags. That's good. 92% of Canadians aged 55 and up are the most likely to rely on reusable bags at grocery stores, so we could work better in that demographic. And the Art Gallery at Greater Victoria annual paint-in takes place this weekend. Bring your own bag because there's 150 artists along Moss Street. 11 to 4 Saturday, expected to draw thousands of visitors, as it always does. I think they had 30,000 out last year. It was crazy, and it was fantastic. Everybody and their dog. VicPD advising you need to plan ahead because there will be temporary road closures. You might want to cycle or bus down. If you may not, parking will be at a premium. Moss Street will be closed between Purcell Place, Rockland, and between Fort and Dallas, the whole stretch of it pretty much. However, traffic will still be able to move through the intersection of Fairfield and Moss Street if you have to get across. That is your news, 7:52.
From unforgettable upsets and last-minute winners to the plays that brought the entire world to its feet. Wow! All leading to one moment, the 2026 FIFA World Cup Final.
They have Georgia on their minds and a World Cup to look forward to.
This Sunday, July 19th. Every match, every moment, 2026 FIFA World Cup. Stream it live on TSN Radio.
With precision.
Available on iHeartRadio.
CFAX Mornings are brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Their buy one, get one free event is on now. Stock up on some of the items your family enjoys the most. See their flyer for details. Once again, checking the traffic situation around Greater Victoria, seeing no delays whatsoever. Traffic volume much lighter than usual. Gets a little slow as you go through the core of Saanich on both Douglas and Blanchard, but that's just basically stopping at the lights.
Ryan and Lisa. Mornings on CFAX 1070. Remember, you have us in the palm of your hand. For listeners on the go, listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Our hearts go out to the communities up island dealing with the death of 2 or 3 people who were on a helicopter which crashed at Stafford Lake on Tuesday. This sort of collision leaves complex situations and ones that the Royal Canadian Air Force are provisioned to respond to. It was the 442 Transport and Rescue Squadron and 19-wing at Comox that launched this particular mission. Joining us on the line is Cormorant pilot Chris Pratt. Captain Pratt, welcome to the program.
Morning. Happy to be here.
Now, maybe explain what a transport and rescue squadron does.
So our primary mandate is the search and rescue operations for our AOR, which is the western portion of Canada. We're staffed with Cormorant helicopters and the new Kingfisher fixed-wing search and rescue as well.
So how big an area do you cover?
We span all the way from the U.S. border to the south up to the Yukon and eastern border of Alaska, so western border of Alaska for us, and then offshore as well, and then inland all the way past the Rockies.
Wow. So there's like 3 or 4 of these across the country. There's one in Trenton, there's one out east, and there's one more, right?
In Winnipeg as well. Yes. And there are actually 2 squadrons out east, one in Gander, one in Greenwood.
Right. Okay. So, and these are highly skilled individuals like yourself.
Well, we make up quite a few individuals in the squadrons. We have pilots for both airframes. We have back-end crew, like flight engineers and sensor operators. And we also have search and rescue technicians, which are our advanced care paramedics who can deploy to any type of terrain or water.
When you're called to something that is preventable, how do you maintain your level of professionalism knowing that this could have been avoided?
So we train for all types of scenarios, both land, water, mountainous, any type of terrain. So when we come upon these scenes after we're called out by the JRCCs across the country, we're very well trained to be able to deal with this from start to finish. So it becomes, as anything does that you've worked and trained for, very methodical. So you kind of compartmentalize it when you're completing the tasks.
Is there things that you'd like people to know that can help you do your job?
Yes, of course. If you're flying, make sure you're sticking to your flight plan. Make sure your aircraft has its transponder up to code. And if you're on the water, please wear life jackets. We're at the start of a busy, hot summer, and wearing life jackets, remaining visible, is very important when it comes to being recovered.
Now, there's some tensions, and I'm not going to ask you to comment on the tensions between Canada and the U.S., but I have been impressed by the professionalism that both you and the U.S. Coast Guard have been able to put into our region and work side by side. It's very heartening.
Yes, we have a U.S. Coast Guard exchange pilot on squadron with us here. We regularly do cross-border operations for search and rescue with the U.S. Coast Guard. They operate in our waters and land, and we operate down there. It's been a seamlessly collaborative effort throughout as long as I've been involved in the RCAF Coast Guard operations. Has this year been busier than most? It's getting there. The last month we've seen, I won't say a record number of call-outs and missions on the West Coast here, but it is increasing, and I don't see any signs of it slowing down throughout the next few years. Thanks for joining us this morning, and thanks for what you do every day. And make sure you thank all those technicians and the people behind the scenes of search and rescue squadrons, because it's more than just pilots and SARs. It's the people on the ground taking the calls and giving you the information you need. There's so many layers to what you do that it requires people that know what they're doing, and it is appreciated. Hey, well, thank you very much for the comments, and thank you for the support. That's Chris Pratt with Squadron 442 Transport and Rescue at 19 Wing in Comox.
CFAX Victoria,
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 8:01 on CFAX 1070 and CTV Vancouver Island. Steve Young subbing for Ryan again this week. It's time for CFAX 1070 News. Here's Lisa Best.
The BC Wildfire Services winds are helping crews fight a fire burning dangerously close to Pemberton, which has led to evacuation orders and alerts. The mayor of that community, Mike Richmond, says the situation is being well resourced by the province.
Number of airplanes dropping water and retardant, and they were trying to hold the line on the hydro lines side of things to make sure power didn't get cut, and then obviously said that it wouldn't creep closer to town. They did a great job holding that line.
Residents in Pemberton have described Wednesday night as surreal, watching from their homes as firefighters battled flames that quickly grew throughout the night. Wildfire smoke is still impacting air quality out east across Ontario and a large swath of the U.S.
Just check Chicago's AQI. It's 417 this morning. Remember, you don't want to spend a lot of time outdoors if it's above 150. So when you go out, check airnow.gov, and anywhere from Minnesota right down through Wisconsin into the mid-Atlantic like Baltimore and Philadelphia, we're waking up and this afternoon could still have poor air quality. Timing-wise, though, we will start to see some relief as we get into Saturday night here in New York City. It will start to push out of Michigan by Saturday morning, and then it'll kind of just be diluting a bit.
This as a growing number of U.S. politicians are criticizing Canada for the smoke that's impacting their communities. Mark Carney says the government is taking an investment-driven approach to climate and the environment. In a letter addressed to Carney yesterday, 4 Michigan members of the House of Representatives accused our country of failing to conduct adequate forest maintenance to reduce the risk and warned U.S. officials would look elsewhere and act on their own if more action was not taken. This as we learn about what that smoke does to us. The perils of the wildfire smoke really don't stop just breathing it in or affecting your heart. Now we're learning it can affect your brain. Research from the tiny particles of wildfire smoke, known as PM2.5, or the fine particulate matter, are so small they can actually travel deep into your lungs. Dr. Bhavin Goval is a clinical associate professor at the University of Calgary.
We're probably in sort of severe state right now with the air quality. And the particulate matter, which is the PM2.5, what happens is it's sort of, you can either sort of breathe it in through the lungs and it crosses the blood-brain barrier, or you can actually sort of inhale it through the nose as well, and then it goes straight to the brain.
She explains that when the toxins reach the brain, they can cause inflammation, resulting in fogginess, lack of focus, and headaches. Increasing exposure to these harmful particles can also cause long-term damage to brain cells, which actually apparently leads to cognitive decline. All bad things coming from wildfire smoke. And Canada's Drug Agency has recommended that public drug plans pay for lecanemab, the treatment shown to slow the progression of early-stage Alzheimer's for certain patients. Dr. Michael Borey is a medical director of Aging Brain and Memory Clinic in London, Ontario. He says at $32,000 a year, most patients just can't afford it.
Those who are able to do it were a few, but for many people that we've spoken to, they just, as soon as I mention that figure, they say this is not even an option for us. They don't even consider it. So it automatically excludes most of the people we're seeing.
No doubt. The agency's previous decision, issued last winter, recommends against publicly funding the treatment due to concerns about its effectiveness and potential side effects. But now it's moving forward. That's your news to 8:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. The beautiful game is coming to an end, or at least when the World Series is involved. The World Cup final goes on Sunday. FIFA wrapping up more than a month of games. 33% say they will be watching it, and 67% will be doing something else. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com. Also, the iHeartRadio app. Then, Lisa, best your news time is 8:07.
Thank you, Lisa. The ice cream suggestions continue to flow in at a rather epic pace here at CFAX 1070.
All right.
Shall we go through some of
I like lists, especially when it comes to ice cream.
I like the fact that people are weighing in, because it's some interesting ideas and memories are being shared as well. Shout out to Sweet Memories on Government Street back in the day. Husband made the ice cream and his wife worked the till.
Aw.
I love that.
That is good.
One person says, Mr. Tubbs, P.S. the vanilla bean flavor, then pour a small amount of Irish whiskey over the top. Ooh.
Oh, okay, I'm in.
Nutmeg ice cream on the island of Grenada. Just a hint of nutmeg. Very tasty. Nutmeg getting some run here. I'm lactose intolerant, so I buy Chapman's lactose-free ice cream. It has amazing flavor. I wish all makers would offer a lactose-free option. Licorice is Phil's favorite, but he can't seem to find it anywhere. Life is a little sweeter when we take time to enjoy the simple things. I enjoy sharing a cone with family or treating my dog Bailey. It's a perfect excuse to slow down and savor the moment. My favorite flavor is maple walnut, followed by butter pecan. Bailey enjoys vanilla. Bailey gets ice cream.
Yeah, and so I got a question. If you have a dog, I want to know where you take them for a pupper cone, because, well, it's true. Because if you have a dog, I am an auntie, and if you take them for a pupper cone, dogs are naturally lactose intolerant. So where do you get a pupper cone? Because they shouldn't be made with milk, because dogs don't digest it very well. So if you have a suggestion in that department, I'm listening.
Okay. Drifters in Cobble Hill has amazing ice cream. I had never in my 55 years heard about Moon Mist ice cream, a Nova Scotia favorite, when we went to visit that province last year. Weird but delicious, a swirl of banana, bubblegum, and grape. That's from Susan.
Nice.
And Cold Zone at Breakwater Cafe is homemade on the site. So there you have it. It's we've also had an earthquake, and so far, and somebody's asked us about possible tsunami warnings. There's a 7.4 earthquake near the Guatemala-Mexican border. We'll keep you posted. I've checked a couple of places. So far, I don't see anything, but like I said, I'll keep you posted.
Okay.
And the weather forecast for Greater Victoria, mainly cloudy today, a 30% chance of drizzle early this morning, clearing this afternoon with a high near 20, partly cloudy tonight and a low near 14, clearing tomorrow with a high near 23, sunny on Sunday with a high near 25. Perfect conditions for ice cream day on Sunday. Right now, 13 degrees. The British Open, of course, underway at Royal Birkdale this year, and checking the leaderboard right now. Lucas Herbert is the clubhouse leader at 8 under par. That gives him a 2-stroke lead over both Jackson Suber and Cameron Young right now. The Pacific FC game in Hamilton last night was canceled due to air quality. Shamrocks take on Coquitlam tonight, 6:30 start in Colwood. Junior A Shamrocks host Coquitlam tomorrow, 3:30. That's game one of the best-of-5 semifinals at the Q Center. Harbor Cats are back in action. They take on Wenatchee tonight, 6:35 first pitch. And there's CFL football here on CFAX 1070. The Lions take on the Elks. That's a 6 o'clock kickoff. Mornings on CFAX are brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Their buy one, get one free event on now. Stock up on some of the items your family enjoys the most. See the flyer for details. Checking your traffic situation around Greater Victoria, everything is in really good shape. Other than stopping for stoplights, there are no delays to speak of anywhere in our region. Hopefully that continues throughout the entire weekend. At the ferry terminal, the 8 o'clock sailing was a sellout, and I'm predicting maybe the 9 o'clock might be as well. There's 10% available deck space on the 9 o'clock sailing. Hourly sailings today right through until 9 o'clock tonight. And at the airport, everything is on time right now. On the markets, TSX down 71 points at 35,269. Dow Jones down 27 at 52,525. The NASDAQ is down 350 points at 25,531. And the Canadian dollar down 17 basis points at 71.4 cents U.S.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Oversleepers, catch all the highlights on the latest audio podcast at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
8:13 here at CFAX 1070. We've been talking a little bit about the massive overreaction by Republicans in both Michigan and Ohio in particular. John James is running for governor of Michigan. So he's out there front and center. He says, and right now he's representative for the area in South Detroit, basically. He says, Michigan and Ohio are teaming up against Canadian smoke. I'm introducing the House bill to sanction Canada and the officials responsible for this toxic smoke invasion. They must pay. And he uses caps, which is like, anyway, and put out the fires.
We agree with him with the latter part, put out the fires. Yes, we'd like that to happen too. So
this is his this is the way he put it. And again, using caps. Final warning to Canada. Really? Dude.
Okay.
You've lived in Michigan, across the border from us. Like, you're a representative so close to Windsor, you're almost in Windsor. And you use rhetoric like this. Mm-hmm. Manage your forest to prevent these fires. American lungs are paying the price for Canadian inaction year after year. Sovereignty comes with responsibility, and the responsibility to prevent a foreseeable disaster from crossing into another country's airspace has not been met. Canada, no excuses. Stop the smoke.
Yeah, well, we can file that away. Yeah.
Don't vote for John James if you're in Michigan. John, go away.
Yeah, I mean, you have to measure that, and I have to file that away because we have a battle on our hands, just as the U.S. has had battles in their hands with fires, and there's major fires burning in the States as well. It's just, unfortunately, that smoke is not going into Michigan, but that could change with the winds.
Absolutely. And, one of the reasons I'm having such an issue with this is very local to me. Mm-hmm. So we had a pilot from Souk fighting wildfires in Colorado. He passed away this week.
He crashed, unfortunately, last week, yeah.
How many times has Canada been there when needed the most? Think about those Quebec tankers that went down and helped with the California wildfires, those tragic ones around the Pacific Palisades.
Yes, and we had our people there, too.
Yeah. I love the way countries come together to fight these wildfires. And that's the way it's supposed to be. We have Australians come up here. We have South Africans come up here. We have various nations. Mexicans are up here all the time helping us with our fires, and then we go down and help with theirs. It's not supposed to be a rhetoric thing. It's supposed to be, let's support each other and get through this together thing. So can we please go back to that?
Well, you should write him a letter.
Oh, I might have written something on his Facebook page.
Okay.
Yeah. 8:17 here at CFAX 1070. Here's Lisa with your news headlines.
Just a reminder, Sunday starts wear a life jacket time. Life jacket time. National Drowning Prevention Week begins this week, and officials say it's mid-July that is the peak time for drowning incidents across Canada. So make sure you suit up before you hit the water. The BC Centre for Disease Control also warning you to be aware of the blue-green algae blooms forming on lakes across this province as things warm up. We have a number of lakes that are still off limits for swimming locally, different waterways due to the blooms. And those blooms make us sick, but they can also be very deadly to dogs. They can affect their liver. The center also warning you not to drink or enter the contaminated water and follow the signage if it says don't swim. There's a reason why we don't want you to get sick. The spokesperson for the Canadian Legion says the institution remains a staple in Canadian communities, and they've seen a surge in new memberships lately. Legion officials say the organization's purpose has expanded beyond serving veterans and their families over the last century to include promoting public awareness of the sacrifices made by Canadian soldiers. This afternoon, Governor General Louise Arbour will participate in a commemorative ceremony at the National War Memorial in Ottawa, while Canada Post is expected to unveil a new anniversary stamp. And the Art Gallery of Greater Victoria's annual paint-in goes this weekend. The popular community event features more than 150 artists lined along Moss Street. Between 11 and 4, you can do some shopping and definitely do some people watching as well. The other thing happening on Sunday, the World Cup final, and there's a big screen set up at Uptown Shopping Center for you. That starts at 11. And from 10 to 3 Sunday, it's the 26th Annual Oak Bay Collector Car Festival. There'll be 300-plus unique vehicles on site. Oak Bay Avenue will be closed about 5 blocks from Monterey to Mitchell Street for the event. That's your news to 8:19.
By the way, we do have an update on the tsunami situation as a result of that earthquake near the coast of Chiapas, Mexico. And there is no tsunami danger for the U.S. West Coast, British Columbia, or Alaska. Based on earthquake information and historical tsunami records, the earthquake is not expected to generate a tsunami. And there you have it.
Okay. That's good news, and good news for Mexico, too.
Yeah. 8:20 here at CFAX 1070.
For all your DIY exterior product needs, visit ProTech Exterior Products in person at 875 Viewfield Road or at beahomepro.com.
8:21 here at CFAX 1070. We'll just switch over to 8:22. 8:22 here at CFAX 1070. Steve in for Ryan this week with Elisa steering me in the right direction the best she can. I'm perturbed.
The cattle prod works, I find.
It's going to take more than that.
I'm working on it.
BC Ferries, the next available sailings at 9 o'clock for the mainland out of Swartz Bay. It has 9% available deck space. The next sailing at 10 has 18% available deck space. There's no delays on the highways at all. The biggest backup I see is getting off Island Highway, Nanaimo bound at Island Highway. They're probably doing some work there on the bus lanes that are going in, so it's a little slow right there, but that's it today.
Ryan and Lisa are ready when you are.
Good morning.
Day or night, find the highlights under latest audio at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
A long-discussed proposal for Central Saanach's new municipal facility featuring a shared rec center for the peninsula has been revised after Sydney Council rejected a pricier plan. So we're checking in on what the current proposal might look like and ask one of the communities which would need to sign off on this revised version about it. Neil Pautela is a Central Saanich councillor and chair of the Peninsula Rec Commission, and he's joining us to catch up. Good morning, Neil.
Steve, how are you?
Not too bad. So what I know the first one sort of, Sydney was a little worried. So what's the plan going forward?
Yeah, so we know basically as the Peninsula Recreation Commission, we serve the entire Saanich Peninsula through the Capital Regional District, and it's a service delivery model. So it's an equal participation between Central Saanich, North Saanich, and Sydney as the member municipalities. For anything that incurs this level of borrowing or debt, we typically we have to go for assent from the three member municipalities, and it does need to be unanimous. We put forward a proposal to locate a Southern Peninsula recreation facility that was going to be 10,000 square feet at about $14 million of capital cost. That was, like you had said, rejected by Sydney Council. So what we did is we checked the game tape, if you will. We went through the council meeting. We also went through the public correspondence and feedback, not just from Sydney Council, but from North Saanich and our own residents in Central Saanich, and basically aligned that with the needs assessments that had been done in the past, and then came up with a more bare bones, pared down proposal that is 30% both in space allocated, so about 7,500 square feet instead of the 10,000, as well going from 14 million to 10 million, which would be 1 million of capital and 9 million of borrowing. So the question before the three municipalities now in the coming 3 weeks is going to be consideration of this pared down and reduced scope borrowing bylaw. We still have a lot of the great things that were in the previous proposal, new weight room, new multi-purpose fitness facilities, places for programs, classes, multi-sport meeting spaces, as well as a pottery studio that is intended to help reduce the demand of the very popular one that we've already got running up in the Green Glade facility that is located in the town of Sydney.
So now, what has been taken out? You mentioned the square footage. What was planned for that square footage?
The plan it's sheerly size, so it's basically going down in smaller sizes and allotments for the different spaces. Okay. Specifically, the weight room space has been pared back as well. We had a number of multi-use rooms and kind of different program spaces. Instead, what we're opting for at this point would be a much larger single room space that then has those kind of soundproofing divider walls that can be brought in to help ebb and flow with multiple programs, breakout rooms, different classes or uses, etc. But the one thing that we've identified as a bit of a opportunity here, I guess, is that the larger program space in this south location, there really isn't anything like that right now, kind of in this area on the peninsula. And so we do think from a booking and a booking revenue standpoint, there could be some really neat opportunities for gatherings, meetings, and kind of using this space for that element as well. And so that's one thing that our staff were excited about as part of this new revised scope application.
And this is particularly important to you because this is part of a broader project for Central Saanich.
That's correct. It's part of our civic redevelopment plan, and we've acquired this lot on Hovey Road. It's at the juncture of Hovey and Wallace. When you think about smart growth principles and good planning, the idea of locating your civic and institutional space in a hub that is easily accessible by bike, by bus, through walking and automotive, and from our residents in Tanner Ridge, from Brentwood Bay, and of course in Saanich, as well, the proximity to Centennial Park, and I'm sure and listeners know, Centennial Park in Central Saanich is such a crown jewel from a recreation and a kind of a cultural standpoint. You've got this amazing forest with a creek running through it, and tremendous wildlife. You've got equestrian nearby. You've got all of the wonderful fields, the new batting cage that Central Saanich Little League put in, and tennis courts, et cetera. And so you have this really dynamic, really well-used facility. It was through Peninsula Recreation Commission that we were able to get a massive multi-sport box that was to replace the old lacrosse box that opened last year. And so we just have this gem of a space. And so when you think about the future and addressing needs of our communities and the quality of life, having a now 7,500 square foot recreation space really does cap it off, and having it ground level, accessible, and dynamic to meet the changing needs of our residents is it's an exciting proposition.
So what comes next?
Well, we're going forward now to Sydney and North Saanich Council for consideration. We're doing our level best, from the perspective of the Peninsula Recreation Commission to demonstrate that we've listened, we've learned, and we've applied a lot of the feedback that they would have heard as council during the first round of public engagement on the borrowing bylaw that was ultimately rejected. And we hope that this borrowing bylaw does get considered, and ultimately it is the up to the duly elected representatives of those communities to weigh the benefits and the cost and prudently as we know it, and we expect that they do. And ultimately, if it does get adopted, it gets rolled into the CRD's capital budget, and obviously Central Saanich's capital budget, and planning this facility rolls forward with that assumption. And if it gets rejected, we will take our chips and go home, and we'll build we're still moving ahead with the civic facility, but we will have to recalibrate and imagine a facility with either a different use at the ground floor, or just simply pare it back and reduce the scope. One important thing to state, I think, at this point, both because I've heard it from my residents and some others, is there is no subsidy here from the Peninsula Recreation Commission to the District of Central Saanich. The cost is the cost, and the cost is broken out and separate. If the CRD and Peninsula Recreation Commission doesn't participate in the facility, and that $10 million expense is not borne by the three municipalities, that's just a $10 million reduction in the overall capital budget of the Central Saanich project. There's no asking the CRD or this regional facility to subsidize everything. This project is a standalone on its own, and it stands there if it gets included, and if it doesn't, we just reduce the scope.
Thanks for the concise answers, my friend. Niall, I actually really appreciate it. It's an interesting prospect, and we'll keep an eye. It's scheduled to go perhaps before Sydney Council on August the 10th. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Steve, and have a fantastic Friday and a great weekend.
You too.
From unforgettable upsets and last-minute winners to the plays that brought the entire world to its feet. All leading to one moment, the 2026 FIFA World Cup Final.
They have Georgia on their minds and a World Cup to look forward to.
This Sunday, July 19th. Every match, every moment, 2026 FIFA World Cup. Stream it live on TSN Radio.
With precision.
Available on iHeartRadio. CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
8:34 here at CFAX 1070 and CTV Vancouver Island. Chance of some drizzle this morning. Time for CFAX 1070 news. Here's Lisa Best.
BC Wildfire Service has their hands full today with the tinder dry conditions and hot conditions coming into next week. We've seen our active wildfires grow from 45 in the 6 o'clock hour this morning to 51 now. We had 16 considered out of control. That's grown to 22 out of control this hour. 29 fires have started in BC in the last 24 hours, including one near Qualicum Beach, but crews got a good handle on that. That one is considered under control. But parts of Ontario, it's a different story. There's well over 180 fires burning in Ontario, 63 considered under control. Parts of that province may get some relief from the wildfire smoke as the blazes continue, some of them unabated, in the northern parts of Ontario.
Smoke from the devastating fires may only briefly improve today before poor air quality returns. Environment Canada says the hazy, smoky conditions will return this evening in all regions and could persist into the weekend. The Ontario government and the Assembly of First Nations have called on Ottawa to provide immediate support, while other provinces, such as Alberta, have deployed firefighters and water bombers to help. Officials say there are 136 active fires in Ontario's northwest region. Don Mitchell, the Canadian Press.
Stateside federal investigators with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission confirmed that the U.S. president's longtime teleprompter operator, Gabriel Perez, was discovered to have made $100,000 U.S. by placing bets on more than a dozen of Trump's speeches on the prediction mark Kelsey. Sources tell ABC News employees from Kelsey alerted the Commodities Future Trading Commission to the suspicious activity, and White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt was disappointed by the news.
He believes it's deeply unfortunate and frankly a disgrace.
This as we learn more, too, about the cyclosporiasis outbreak. We know the source of it now that made thousands of people sick throughout the U.S.
A source familiar with the investigation says the outbreak of the severe stomach bug spreading across the country has now been linked to shredded iceberg lettuce served at Taco Bell locations in 5 states: Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, and West Virginia.
A parasite affected everything from lettuce to raspberries, sickening hundreds of people. Taco Bell says that lettuce will be replaced within 24 hours. That's your news to 8:36. Your CFAX forecast, not your forecast, your news poll. The music's messing with me. Will you be watching the World Cup final on Sunday? 39% say yep, going to be tuning in. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. And Steve, a listener, brought up a point that there's also the semifinal that's happening tomorrow. Sometimes it's not always about the winner, it's about the fact that England is still in the mix, correct?
Tomorrow, England and France will meet in the third place game, which is always a tough one for the players to play, right?
Yeah, because they just want to go home.
Yeah. A viewer, listener, has sent in a picture of the streets of Courtenay right now that is a little concerning, as we got some rain here in Victoria, but nothing like what I'm seeing on the streets of Courtenay right now. So this is a good reminder for folks. Turn around, don't drown. You don't know what's underneath there. So be very, very careful as you're driving around this morning, because, that's
lots of standing water.
That's, it's basically halfway up the door of these pictures I'm seeing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
a deluge hitting Courtenay.
So thank you to Janet for sending that in to us. Much appreciated. And I was looking for any statements by the town during the newscast. Didn't see anything, but certainly if you're in Courtenay and you're driving around, please take care. Please take care. We want you to listen to us when we come back on Monday. Weather forecast for Greater Victoria, well, it'll just be drizzle from this point on. About a 30% chance of drizzle this morning. It'll clear up this afternoon with a high near 20. Partly cloudy tonight, low down to 14. Clearing tomorrow with a high near 23. Sunny on Sunday with a high near 25. Right now in downtown Victoria, 13 degrees. Here's your World Cup update.
This is your TSN Radio FIFA World Cup 2026 update.
I'm John Rodenberg. Sunday, 5.5 weeks after the World Cup kicked off, it will come to an end with a championship game between Argentina and Spain. Argentina is trying to become the first country to win back-to-back titles since Brazil did in 1962. It leads the tournament with 19 goals scored. Spain has done it with defense, allowing just 1 goal in 7 matches. And TSN soccer analyst Stephen Caldwell says because of that, Argentina can't afford to fall behind.
Argentina are a team that have allowed other opponents the opportunity to go in the lead, and they've left themselves mountains to climb. They've done it. They've managed to get there. But if they do that against Spain, it'll be too much.
Argentina going for its 4th championship in its 7th trip to the final. Spain has played in 1, winning in 2010. Game time Sunday is 3 o'clock Eastern. You can watch the FIFA World Cup matches on TSN, CTV, Crave, and streaming at tsn.ca. Listen on the TSN Radio Network with all games streaming on the iHeartRadio app.
For a comfortable home, no matter what the season, and big savings on your heating bill, talk to Coastal Heat Pumps, designed for comfort. The South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. Once again, those traffic road conditions in Courtney, we want to highlight as there's a fair amount of water on some of the roads. Give yourself extra time, and if you're not sure you can get through, don't try it. In Greater Victoria, the only delay is the off-ramp off the Trans-Canada Nanaimo bound going into View Royal and Colwood as they're working on the bus lanes there, so there's a little more construction, so it's just a tad backed up there northbound. The 9 o'clock sailing is already full out of Swartz Bay for the mainland. Next available sailings at 10 o'clock with 25% available deck space. On the markets, TSX is down 118 points at 35,221. Dow Jones down 64 at 52,488. NASDAQ down 400 at 25,482. Canadian dollar up 14 basis points at 71.4 cents U.S.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
I'm your ice cream man, stop me when I'm passing by. On my mind, I'm your ice cream man, stop me when I'm passing by.
It is time to talk about food, and why not start with the ice cream, because Sunday is National Ice Cream Day. Dallas is joining us with our Friday Food Vibes. Welcome, Dallas.
Thank you for having me. I actually did not know that.
Now you've got another reason to celebrate ice cream.
See, this is the good thing is I can come on here and learn stuff. We're all learning stuff.
Oh, yes, and we expect to learn stuff from you today. So we're talking ice cream. We've had a lot of people texting in as to what their favorite was, and so here we are with the source. What do you say, Dallas? Like, it's hard to pick one.
Yeah, there's a lot of good options. First, I want to give a quick shout-out to nostalgia. So I'm going to start with that. People probably won't expect this, but the mint chocolate chip ice cream milkshake at Mr. Tubbs is that's always been my absolute favorite thing personally. I think they have Island Farms in there, but I've got an affinity for that. But then if we move beyond that to artisanal sort of made in-house type stuff, one spot that I wonder if you guys have been there, but just down from the station, Kid Sister. Have you guys stopped by there?
I've been there, but it's been many years. But
okay.
It is a favorite. Fantastic ice cream.
Yeah. So, Kid Sister, they're with all of the ice cream that they do, they have little twists that you would be unanticipated. There's little secrets, I think, in everything. Like they're using fresh local fruit. Everything's fresh. But they're doing little twists on the traditional flavors where you might, you try it and you're like, oh, this stands out a bit, but you don't know what they're doing. And they're doing stuff you wouldn't expect. So I really appreciate that nuance that they do at Kid Sister. And then we can branch over to Parachute, where if you get their birthday cake ice cream, they are baking an entire birthday cake, mashing it up and putting it in the ice cream.
It really doesn't sound like a bad thing, does it?
Well, no, so if you like that texture of not just the ice cream texture, but then something in it, you're actually getting a really good quality birthday cake jammed in this thing, as an example. They also, I haven't been there in a little while, but they used to do a blackberry crumble one where they'd make a blackberry crumble and put that in. And that was my jam. That was fantastic.
Wow.
And then we could jump over to 49 Below, where, for anyone that's a fan of Cinnamon Toast Crunch ice cream or Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal, they have the ice cream equivalent of that there.
Wow.
And that one, I remember way back when I would see Dan at one of the farmers markets, and I would, that was my first experience with 49 Below.
Now, I've got a couple more that the listeners have been chiming in. Two people mentioning Ice Cream Mountain by Goldstream and the fact that Kawartha Dairies has taken that over, and they like that. We've got Drifter's Creamery, an ice cream food truck in Cobble Hill near the Cobblestone Pub. They recommend the mango flavor. This one sounds really good. This is at Butcher Gardens, the lavender and honey gelato. What a concoction that would. Tiger. So there's a lot of options out there. We're going to talk more food stuff in a moment. But first, Lisa needs to bring us up to date with your news headlines.
Thanks, Stephen. Good morning. Up Island, NIMO RCMP, like many police force in this province, reminding parents and kids about the importance of helmet use and the rules and regulations surrounding e-scooters and e-bikes following a recent collision yesterday afternoon involving an e-scooter rider in that city. The incident happened around 3:30 Thursday afternoon at the intersection of Uplands Drive and Villa Road. Police were called out, the e-scooter hitting a passenger vehicle. The preliminary investigation determined that two teens riding e-scooters were traveling at a high rate of speed on a sidewalk when one of the riders collided with the vehicle that was making a right turn at the intersection. The rider was thrown into the roadway and is injured. NIMO RCMP are reminding riders and parents that helmets must be worn properly. You must be the right age to ride these, and riding on sidewalks definitely not allowed. Governor General Louise Arbour is expressing her gratitude for Canada's veterans. She spoke today at a ceremony in Ottawa commemorating the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Legion. The Canada Post also putting out a special post in honor of the 100th anniversary. Arbour says the Legion is a powerful source in Canadian communities where it helps those in need and supports seniors and young people. And that is your news to 8:48.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island.
Victoria Symphony presents Symphony in the Summer Festival, July 10th through August 9th. Details at victoriasymphony.ca. Catch all the excitement of summer baseball with the Victoria Harbour Cats. More info at harbourcats.com. Have an event you want featured on CFAX 1070? Text us at 71010 to be featured.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Checking your traffic situation. Let's start at the ferry terminal. 9 o'clock sailing's full. 23% available deck space on the 10 o'clock sailing. Just taking a look at downtown Courtenay with the flooding that we were made aware of. I see usual delays going across the Island Highway Bridge over towards Comox, but that's nothing out of the usual. And just 5th Street seems to have some delays on it, 8th Street. So if you're in Courtenay, if there's water on the road, just be careful out there. Certainly no issues here in Greater Victoria. And of course, if I'm thinking Courtenay, I'm thinking ice cream there too. There's a place called Blue Spruce Ice Cream. Both their elderflower and their spruce tip are outstanding. I can personally vouch for both of those. Wow, they are great.
Eat it. Just eat it. Come on then, let's go.
Friday food vibes.
You ever think about what we put into our mouths?
All the time.
You are cooking
on CFAX 1070.
Time to whet your appetite for all things to eat this weekend locally. Dallas joins us again from Victoria Food. Guys, thank you, Dallas, for being here.
Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate I'm not that familiar with ice cream outside of like our immediate area here, so I really appreciate those those thoughts from the listeners. That's awesome.
Oh, it's great to have the ideas coming in. So beyond ice cream, which we all want to have as a main course meal, what are your other offerings for the weekend?
I 1 5-second thing too. I want to give a shout out to Capo Marta and The Block. They both have in-house ice creams that are awesome. So there's a couple of restaurants locally that have some cool stuff.
Nice.
One event that's happening tomorrow that I want to touch on is Crab Fest. It's happening at Ship Point tomorrow from 11 to 10 p.m. You can get down there, get your crab boil. Those feature freshly harvested Dungeness crab, mussels, potatoes, and corn. They cook it on site. It's going to be a really good time if you like crab. That is where you're going to want to be, basically. The general admission to get into it is by donation, and then you can buy your crab boil once you're there, or you can pre-order it too.
And there'll be entertainment and everything too. This was born out of the pandemic, right? Because we couldn't go over to Port Angeles.
That I'm actually not sure.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was happening until just a couple days ago. Otherwise, I would have had someone on, and we would have talked about it more. But yeah, no, it looks like an immensely cool event. I've never been, but I think it's wildly popular, and so that's happening tomorrow, and that's really cool. For as far as events going on, there are new tickets that went on sale as of Wednesday, a couple of days ago, for the Victoria Wine Festival. I talked with Dave. He said this year's is going to be the biggest one yet by far. South Africa will be the featured region of the wines offered there. It's going to be at the Victoria Conference Centre on November 6th and 7th. The tickets are $116. And so I went to this for the first time last year with Ryan. And when I think of the Wine Fest, I think of it as a real educational opportunity, because when you're there, you get to learn an incredible amount, and the average bottle price that they have there is actually quite high. So you're going to be able to try some really good stuff and get some insight into what you're trying. So I learned a tremendous amount, and especially because Rod was with us from Dorfman Court.
He knows everything. He's forgotten more than we'll know about wine. One thing I like about wine festivals is, you're right, you get to taste a portion of something that you maybe, the sticker price would shock you on the bottle of wine, but at least you get to try it and make an executive decision about it. And a lot of times the winemakers on hand are highly educated. And if you ask them questions, they want to talk. They are there to talk and sell their product and educate you on the region. So it's interesting that they chose South Africa this time, because South Africa is sort of a shining example right now of countries that can put out fantastic wines and products that sometimes we just can't get. The other thing about festivals, and you may know this, sometimes it's better to buy the advance ticket or the VIP, as it were. Sometimes it's worth that ticket price, because you don't have to deal with the crowds then. Because once everybody gets in front of the table, you're having a hard time getting to the product.
Yeah, very much so. When you go to events and you're in the VIP time, it's like a whole different experience, because you can basically get into whatever you want.
Yes.
And something like Wine Fest, it's such an opportunity, the value for the money, because of everything you get to try. Like, to normally try all that stuff, to buy all of those bottles to try them, like, nobody's really ever doing that. So there's a tremendous amount of value for someone that is interested in that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. One place I want to give a shout out to, if people are going to eat out this weekend, is there's another place that is right by the radio station there, Nilu Chicken and Grill. This is the sister restaurant of Nilu that's in Royal Oak. The really cool thing that they branched out with at the location at 624 Admirals Road there is that this one has a unique identity, that it has a whole bunch of Filipino items that they've been adding to the menu. So like chicken NSL, and they have that there, but they also have Filipino spaghetti, which I haven't seen offered anywhere. So
what is
you can
that?
Get Filipino. So it's spaghetti with hot dogs in it, and the sauce is sweet. It's a noticeably sweet sauce. People will have maybe heard of Jollibees, and Jollibees is known for this. So, but they're making a local version of that, and you get the Filipino spaghetti with some fried chicken as a combo. It's $18.99, and the fried chicken was actually unexpectedly good. Like, it was so moist. When I was taking my photos for Instagram, the food was sitting out for probably like 15-20 minutes. And usually when I'm doing that, stuff can get cold. But I was amazed by how good the chicken still was, just sitting out in the open like that when I actually got into it. They also have a ton of baked items, including a creme brulee style ube chiffon cake. Really, really cool stuff. All the baking that's being done there is not overly sweet, very well rounded. And I also tried the mango cake as well. Everything that I tried on my visit, and I tried a bunch of stuff, was awesome. And that's Nilu Chicken and Grill. And if you go to the other location, then you're going to get more like Persian food. Have you guys branched out into Filipino cuisine much?
Not I, but have you, Lisa?
I've had it traditionally made, but I haven't had a restaurant like that, but something worth checking out. Dallas, we got to wrap it up.
Awesome.
I know,
Yeah,
right? It's never enough time, but we appreciate all the input on where to dine this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. I'm Lisa Best with your CFAX 1070 news to 9 o'clock. Governor General Louise Arbour has expressed her gratitude for Canada's veterans. She spoke today at a special ceremony this morning in Ottawa, commemorating the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Legion.
For a century, the Royal Canadian Legion has supported our veterans during and beyond their years of service, while keeping their stories alive and paying tribute to those who made the ultimate sacrifice.
Arbour says the Legion is also a powerful force in communities across this country, where it helps those in need and supports seniors and young people. Speaking of helping in need, Ottawa is nearly doubling the amount of public donations it will match for Venezuela to a maximum of $7 million.
The Secretary of State for International Development says the increase comes after its original $4 million match for donations was quickly reached. The earthquake left thousands dead or missing, and the funding is going directly to aid groups, helping the Red Cross and the dozen Canadian organizations that make up the humanitarian coalition to help people on the ground. Rare double earthquakes struck northern Venezuela 39 seconds apart last month, and the authoritarian government has struggled to respond. If the match is fully funded, Ottawa will have contributed $12 million in humanitarian aid since the earthquake. Naira Ahmed, The Canadian Press.
The BC wildfire update. The fires have been climbing as we go through the morning. At 6 this morning, We had 45 active wildfires. Now we're up to 51 across BC. 29 new starts in the last 24 hours. That includes one near Qualicum Beach. That one is considered under control at this point. So crews got a handle on it before it got out of hand. But 22 across BC considered out of control. Drop in the bucket to what Ontario is dealing with. 180 active fires, 63 alone considered out of control. And the wildfire smoke is impacting air quality deeply across that province, including in the busy Toronto area. And it's also billowing across the border into the U.S.
Detroit and Chicago among the major cities with the worst air quality worldwide, with visitors to the Windy City feeling the effects.
Come out the subway, chest started to give me some issues. Nose was burning. I can taste it.
Milwaukee officials recording their worst ever air quality, more than double the previous record number. One Delta pilot telling passengers not to worry as a smoky smell invaded the cabin flying over New York.
Just want to let you guys know that's the wildfires out west.
Haze triggering flight delays in Philadelphia. Ash even sticking to an American Airlines plane in flight.
As the Okanagan had to deal with a few years back, some wineries in southern Ontario making adjustments to their operations for visitors concerned about the lingering smoke. Bernie Gorski of Colchester Ridge Estate Winery has closed his patios.
We closed our patios, we closed the balcony, and we are keeping everybody inside. And there is a slight difference in the attendance.
No doubt. Environment Canada's poor air quality index continues today across much of the Ontario region. It warns conditions could persist into the weekend. As we here in BC, especially on Vancouver Island, we're going to see our temperatures start to soar as we head into next week, which could also prompt more fires. Sources tell ABC News there's been accusations over bets made on one of the popular prediction markets, Kalshi, that go right to the White House. The president's longtime teleprompter operator is accused of making bets on the words Trump uses in at least a dozen speeches. That man, now on administrative leave, but apparently made tens of thousands, $100,000 on the betting site over the speeches that Trump gave over a 3-month span ending in March. On your markets to end the trading week, the TSX is currently in the red, 49 points, 35,290. The Dow is off 90, 52,472, and our Canadian dollar is holding at 71.30 cents U.S. Today's CFAX 1070 news poll. Will you be watching the World Cup final on Sunday? You can vote now at CFAX1070.com or on the iHeartRadio app. CFAX forecast, mainly cloudy, chance of drizzle still to come this morning. Cloudy this afternoon, actually clearing this afternoon, and we're looking at a high of 20 today.
Hey, it's Adam Sterling. I'm live at 11 a.m., diving into the issues that matter most here in the capital region. Right after Vashi Capellos, don't miss it on CFAX 1070 and the all-new iHeart Radio app.
This is the Graham Richardson Show on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
Hello, everyone, on this Friday, July 17th. I am Tim Power sitting in for Graham today. It's a big weekend coming up. Let's dive into the Friday Five.
The Friday Five.
You have to start first with wildfires in Ontario. Thousands of people in northwest Ontario have been forced from their homes due to fast-moving wildfires, with many more told to be ready to leave as strong winds threaten to further the spread of more than 60 out-of-control fires. About 15 communities in northern Ontario have started evacuations or are considering them, with many not accessible by road. Ontario has asked the federal government to have planes ready to go with less than 24 hours of notice in the event that more people need to get out. Joining us from near Thunder Bay is CTV National News correspondent Heather Wright. Heather, you are very near to where all of these fires are burning in the north. Apparently, according to the Globe and Mail and others, we're getting a bit of a reprieve today, at least from air quality issues. Does it seem like that up there?
Yes, definitely a reprieve in that it is raining, or at least it has been all morning. It's sort of stopped now, but it was quite a storm that rolled through Thunder Bay and the region. So, of course, that was much welcome rain for the people who live here and, of course, the many firefighters that are out trying to battle these fires. 63 roughly of which are burning out of control in this area. So air quality definitely better. There is still, that tinge of smokiness in the air, but air quality is better. And of course, most importantly, this rain is keeping some of these fires probably not at bay, but at least from spreading. There is the risk of lightning strikes that come with this, level of storm. But I think that the rain in general is quite welcome for the people living up here.
We've seen, sadly, communities destroyed. We are seeing both the Ontario government and the Assembly of First Nations pushing for immediate support. And some First Nations, Heather, are calling upon the governments to declare a state of emergency. Tell us about that.
Yes, we've heard from a number of First Nations communities, many of which don't have road access. So they've been telling us harrowing stories of having to flee by boat, trying to get out of their communities as they've just watched them burn to the ground. And part of the challenge we're hearing from these communities is that there just isn't a coordinated level of support at this point. And that's where the state of emergency declaration comes in. These states of emergencies, when they are declared, allow different levels of government to coordinate in a much more, seamless fashion in order to get money, resources, help to the people that need it. So we're hearing from a number of the communities up here, as well as from the Assembly of First Nations. Their General Assembly meeting was taking place in Ottawa earlier this week. So we're hearing from them that they're calling for that state of emergency to be declared, simply to help get resources mobilized much more quickly.
Which is so vital in all of this. And speaking of resources, often when we have had these wildfires across the country, and we've had lots of them, sadly, over the last number of summers, there is a sharing of resources from other provinces and other jurisdictions. Are you seeing that happen and play out here?
Certainly. We've seen, firefighters being dispatched from neighboring provinces. I know Alberta has said that they plan and are sending more to help here in Northern Ontario with the water bombers. And so it is really a mobilization effort and an all-hands-on-deck effort to try to get the resources, the equipment, the manpower up here to the north to fight these fires. And keep in mind, some of these are burning in very remote parts of the province that are not readily accessible. And so there is that level of coordination that's needed. I mean, we're hearing from some water bomber organizations that they're asking people on nearby lakes to keep their boats at bay because they need to be able to land to scoop up the water in the bellies of these water bombers to be able to drop them on nearby fires, because these areas are only accessible by airplane. And so the resources are coming, they're needed, but they're stretched thin because there are fires being fought in other parts of the country as well, right across the country from coast to coast to coast. And so there is only so much of these pieces of equipment and the manpower to go around. And so that's what we're seeing these challenges as well come out here in the north.
Yes, certainly. Quebec, Labrador in the east were among some of the areas hit. There are fires in the west. All right, Heather, we will leave it there. Stay safe. Thank you for joining us today. Appreciate you updating us.
Thanks for having me.
At a media update just in the last half an hour, Ontario Premier Doug Ford defended his government's wildfire response.
We are throwing every single resource we can. When you have 191 infernos running right across our province, we're deploying it based on the firefighters' expertise. We aren't the experts. They're the experts. And if they find there's one area that's burning out of control for one reason or another, we're going to listen to them.
What, if anything, could governments be doing to better manage wildfire risk? Coming up next, we'll speak with an expert from the Institute of Catastrophic Loss Reduction at Western University to get some insight on that. Our second big story, of course, is the FIFA final this weekend in New Jersey. Spain versus Argentina. Some concerning news, perhaps, or a distraction coming out of the Spanish camp today that superstar Lamine Yamal didn't train with the team. We'll dig into that later on in the program and see what Arash Madani says. Number 3, this one is one that continues to generate headlines. The Prime Minister is defending the bridge deal, the Gordie Howe Bridge. Government is facing pressure from the opposition and the media to release all the details of the deal to open the Gordie Howe Bridge. Some reports suggest Canada will be splitting bridge revenue with the U.S. before debt servicing charges are paid, which will mean Canada will be paying off its construction costs for a longer period. The government has so far not committed to releasing the full text of the deal. We'll try and make sense of this all with Bloomberg reporter Brian Platt later on in the program. And today, story number 4 is the 50th anniversary. Yes, the 50th anniversary of the 1976 Montreal Olympics. There will be celebrations in Montreal over the next 2 weeks to commemorate that. One of the greatest stories of those games was, of course, gymnast Nadia Comaneci. She will be in Montreal along with many others. We're going to talk with the head of the Canadian Olympic Committee, Tricia Smith, about what those Olympic Games meant and what impact they're still having today later in the program. The U.S. President is story number 5. I was going to say there have been any number of TV addresses, and they've all apparently been important. But last night's, according to the president, was arguably the most. He claims made more claims about election fraud in 2020. Here's some of what he sounded like.
Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure, one where cheating and interference are not just difficult, but virtually impossible. Unfortunately, the system we have today falls catastrophically short of that standard.
A cache of related documents released on the White House website Thursday night did not substantiate his sweeping claims that U.S. elections are catastrophically short of being fair and accurate. Most major U.S. networks didn't fully air the address. There are concerns this is a preview of the rhetoric around election rigging that Trump may roll out in the lead-up to the November midterms. Next hour, we'll check in with CTV U.S. political analyst Eric Ham to get his takeaways. You'll want to stay tuned for all of that. But when we come back, what more can be done or could be done to manage wildfire risks? We'll be joined by Paul Kovacs, Executive Director of the Institute of Catastrophic Loss Reduction at Western Ontario. Stand by for that conversation.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island.
Victoria Symphony presents Symphony in the Summer Festival, July 10th through August 9th. Details at victoriasymphony.ca. Catch all the excitement of summer baseball with the Victoria Harbour Cats. More info at harbourcats.com. Have an event you want featured on CFAX 1070? Text us at 71010 to be featured.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Now back to the Graham Richardson Show on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
Tim Power sitting in for Graham. Time now for the big conversation.
So this is a really big deal, people.
The big conversation.
The big conversation, I better not screw it up. Well, with wildfire smoke from northern Ontario creating poor air quality for millions of people in Canada and the northern U.S. this week, many people are asking, does Canada do enough to manage wildfire risks? Let's see if our next guest can give us some sense of that, and that's Paul Kovacs. Paul is the Executive Director of the Institute for Catastrophic Loss Reduction at Western University. Paul, great to have you. I'm struck by this. I come from an island in the North Atlantic. We fish. We spend a lot of time sending people out on the water, and the Atlantic Ocean, can be a tough, unforgiving place. Many people have lost their lives. Weather systems have wreaked havoc upon all of us, and we have an old sort of reference to the fact that Mother Nature must be respected, but she can't be controlled. Where does Mother Nature fit in all of this, and can we do more to manage wildfire risks given the temperament and beat of Mother Nature?
Tim, it's great to talk with you. Appreciate the opportunity. There is a great deal that we have complete control over, and we are not doing the best we could managing the parts that we can control. One of the parts is that Canada, being second largest largest country in the world by area, and very heavily covered in forest. So we've got a lot of people who live in areas at risk of wildfire. And so the way we choose to live can respect nature, as you were setting up, but at the same time protect ourselves from wildfire. If you have a home and you're in an area that is regularly experiencing wildfires,